This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. New Iranian strikes in the Persian Gulf are increasing concerns about global energy supplies. The BBC's Azadeh Moshiri has details from Dubai.
News came this morning from the state oil firm KPC in Kuwait that an oil refinery had been hit by multiple drones, that emergency crews battled a fire there but had to shut down multiple units as a precaution.
It comes on the heels of an Iranian attack on the world's largest gas terminal in Qatar this week. An update from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
We destroyed a lot of the nuclear infrastructure. But what we're destroying now are the factories that produce the components to make these missiles.
Gas prices in the U.S. today, $3.91 a gallon. There's no relief at the airports and no end in sight to the partial government shutdown that has more TSA workers like Antoinette Wade calling out sick every day.
We're 2 checks behind as of right now. Doing the job that we love doesn't pay those bills. Gratitude doesn't pay our bills.
Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz blames colleagues across the aisle for refusing to fund the Department of Homeland Security.
The Democrats care more about their radical open border activists than they do about Americans who are missing spring break because there are 4-hour delays.
President Trump's joke about Pearl Harbor yesterday isn't going over well in Japan.
While meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi at the White House, a Japanese reporter asked Trump why he didn't tell allies like Japan about the attack on Iran ahead of time. Trump said it wouldn't have been a surprise.
Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay.
Takaichi's eyes widened, but she remained quiet. Some Japanese politicians and scholars are upset she didn't speak up and fear the joke might harm relations between the U.S. and Japan. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Spanish police say all signs point to an accidental death after the body of a missing University of Alabama student was found in the water off Barcelona. Kevin McClay is president of Jimmy Gracie's frat.
Jimmy's loved by everyone. It's a heartbreaking situation. He serves as a mentor for a lot of our younger guys.
He was on a spring break trip when he disappeared. ABC has pulled the new season of TV's most popular reality series after controversial footage surfaced. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti.
This after video from 2023 leaked showed Bachelorette star Taylor Frankie Paul attacking her then boyfriend Dakota Mortensen. The video is disturbing. In it, you see Paul tackle and kick Mortensen during an argument.
This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
At 6:03, we have cloudy skies, 51 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, March 20th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterey. St. Louis County facing a budget deficit that includes a $61 million hole in general revenue and a $20 million shortfall in the health fund. County Executive Sam Page will sign use tax legislation today that he says is part of the long-term fix. David Sweeney testified before the county council on behalf of the St. Louis Realtors Association.
Strong local retail and commercial corridors are essential to property values, neighborhood vitality, and local tax-based stability. When local businesses are disadvantaged, it affects vacancy rates, investment decisions, and long-term community growth. This measure helps ensure that local brick and mortar businesses can compete and succeed.
Sweeney says the county's tax structure hasn't kept pace with how commerce has shifted.
This is not about creating something new. It is about modernizing our tax structure to reflect today's economy, where online purchasing is the norm.
This bill signing will be this morning at 10:30 in Clayton.
Another warm weekend and thousands of people expected downtown for the NCAA tournament. That has St. Louis police rethinking their security plan, given the chaos that erupted Saturday in different neighborhoods, including downtown. Our Maria Kina asked Police Chief Robert Tracy if the department has a cyber unit.
These kids seem to be planning all this on social media. And the other thing is, there was a flamethrower, there were rings of fire, they had long guns, and I don't know what kind of caliber they were. And they're putting it out there on social media. How come that can't be tracked?
Well, that's what we're talking about, investigations right now. I just talked about the intelligence of open source and looking at these things. There's some things that you can look at, but there's other things that you need a search warrant, you need other things, and you have to establish that probable cause.
Chief Tracy did not specifically answer if they have a cyber unit or if the intelligence unit handles those types of investigations. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
St. Louis police did say they've seized 100 more guns than they seized last year. Yesterday, the agency announcing it has submitted 531 guns to its crime lab, a number they say increased by 104 from this time last year. They say it didn't just happen by chance. It's about recent investments of commitment, resources, and action that led to those seizures.
A suspect in the killing of Berkeley's fire chief has been charged. Ferguson Police Department says 61-year-old Linda Hayden has been formally indicted in connection with the shooting deaths of Fire Chief Henry Williams and his 15-year-old daughter, Helena Elliott. The fatal shooting took place in late February when police say they found the two victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Hayden was taken into custody immediately at the scene. She's been indicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder and is being held on a $2 million cash-only bond.
For 5 hours, developers who plan to build a data center at the site of the Armory presented their case for a conditional use permit.
Many residents spoke in opposition of the data center planned for the Armory and Famous Bar Warehouse. Even the concessions given by the developers.
We are prepared to commit to a closed loop water system and recognize that that could be a condition applied through this process.
Failed to satisfy residents in opposition.
Truly waterless closed loop systems require significantly more electricity to cool the water.
Many unions, including the teachers union, argued in support, citing union jobs during construction and potential tax revenue generated by the project. No recommendation had been given at the conclusion of the meeting. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
In Troy, Illinois, city officials have issued a 6-month moratorium on discussions about a proposed data center.
Very thankful that the individuals listened to us. There are neighbors. They live here too.
Derek Rammert with Troy Residents for Responsible Growth was part of a grassroots effort to fight the development effort. Rammert says the pause will give city officials time to better study the issue and put meaningful laws in place that protect the community.
The CEO of St. Louis Public Library is stepping down. The library announced yesterday that Waller McGuire will retire in October, saying he leaves behind a legacy of both modernization and historic preservation. McGuire was the head of the Central to Your World campaign, which revitalized the 100-year-old Central Library. It was restored and renewed by an almost entirely St. Louis-based team of architects and craftsmen, receiving virtually every available architecture award along the way. The library's board of directors plans to conduct a national search for McGuire's successor, who they want to take over in October.
From the KMOX business desk, less than a decade ago, the city saved an historic nightclub from demolition. Now the city's Land Reutilization Authority is accepting bids to tear down Club Imperial in Walnut Park West. The authority says the building has significantly deteriorated over the years and is a safety hazard.
Club Imperial became a nationally known venue to see artists like Ike and Tina Turner, Dolly Parton, and Chuck Berry. It was also an integrated club when segregation was still common here. According to the Business Journal, some things will be saved or preserved, like 4,000 bricks, the building's marquee and signs, and decorative stonework on the building's exterior.
It is going to be hot today. We're going to check the forecast, plus get the check of the roads coming up in 2 minutes here on Total Information AM. It's 6:08.
Guys, we're getting to the good stuff in college basketball season, and FanDuel Sportsbook is here to help you have even more fun. And of course, FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of KMOX. It is my official sportsbook as well, and has been, well, going back years. Since before it was available in Missouri, I would have to play in Illinois or elsewhere when I traveled, and it's phenomenal. And they are always doing something to make the games better for you. As an example, FanDuel's offering an early win on your pre-live moneyline bets for college basketball when your team goes up 10 points, and it stays a win no matter how the game ends. So be clear, win or lose, if your team takes a lead of 10 or more points, that's a win for you. And don't forget, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. Just visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. Bet the bracket with FanDuel now. Remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri to play. Opt-in required. Tokens are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including token expiration, market requirements, and max wager amount. You can see the terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Spring cleaning is upon us, but there's one meaningful box that you don't throw away when cleaning out your closet. It's the box filled with your family's important videotapes, film reels, and photos. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago to help families organize and update their analog media to digital.
Legacy Box is simple and easy. It works and is safe. Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box.
And Legacy Box has been featured in Good Housekeeping, The Today Show, and Rachel Ray.
Legacy Box is like magic, converting your shoebox of memories to the cloud or thumb drive, ready to watch and share.
Declutter your closet by digitizing your media. Become more organized and accomplished, knowing your family's recorded past is safe forever. Take advantage of our spring cleaning sale going on now. It's the easiest task to check off your to-do list.
For a limited time, you can get started for just $9 a tape. Visit legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/radio to get our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/radio.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10 and time for us to get a check of the roadways and the weather. Let's see what Roger Brand is looking at this morning from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the delays are getting a little longer, Debbie, on eastbound Highway 70 coming in from Warrenton. It bunches up at a couple of spots into the Wright City Rest area, so more volume means a slower pace and a longer wait through that area right now. Westbound 70, barely a slowdown at the Wright City Rest area. And then westbound 64, they're doing road work through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It looks like they have the left lanes closed, right lanes open, and it's just kind of slow westbound through there. But that one's not impacting eastbound traffic at all. Other than that, the rest of the interstates right now look okay. Just a little heads up that next hour, they're scheduled to close the two left lanes eastbound at the Illinois end of the Poplar Street Bridge. They'll be closed around the clock through tomorrow night at 8 p.m., so it's definitely going to impact your drive home this afternoon. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The heat is on for the first few days of spring. Sunshine today through some high clouds, breezy and quite warm this afternoon with a high close to the record of 86 from 2017. Partly cloudy tonight, though 50. Sunny and warm tomorrow, high 80. Partly sunny, breezy, and very warm for Sunday. The high close to the record of 88 set at 1907. It does turn much cooler early next week. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we have cloudy skies, 53 degrees in Florissant. It's 52 in St. Peters, 51 downtown at the Arch.
I'll take you through that Billikens win last night in the NCAA tournament. That's coming up in sports.
It is 6:12 right now, and an elevated fire danger has been issued for parts of central Illinois and Missouri. The National Weather Service says strong winds will put the region at risk of potentially erratic fire behavior. The warning will last through tonight and encompasses the entire St. Louis region.
Missouri gas prices up 26 cents today compared to just last Friday. That's according to AAA's Missouri Weekend Gas Watch. They say the statewide average gas price is $3.38 a gallon, and that drivers in St. Louis face the highest prices. Drivers in Joplin experiencing the lowest. The last time Missouri's statewide average reached current prices was in October of 2023.
A report finds lawsuits at the heart of rising insurance premiums in Missouri.
The Missouri Department of Commerce and Insurance Study says big legal settlements and awards have pushed up insurance premiums for consumers and businesses. The report found during a 5-year period, 2017 to 2022, what analysts define as social inflation rose over 5% annually, outpacing economic inflation. And analysts estimated the cost per Missourian at over $1,200 and the cost of the state at $384 million in lost revenue. Sue Danielson, MissouriNet.
A study by Washington University in St. Louis finds 10% of rural Missourians lack health insurance. Professor Timothy McBride says no coverage can mean big financial consequences.
Means that more people are paying out of pocket, which also means that the hospitals and the healthcare sector are having to deal with collecting from the recipients of the care, which often, unfortunately, can lead to bad debt.
The study found roughly 7% of Missouri's urban residents lack health insurance. He says total 450,000 Missourians overall lack insurance. McBride says the higher uninsured percentage in rural areas is tied to jobs and lower income.
A warehouse in St. Charles will not be torn down after the city council reversed a decision. Warehouse 90 was originally set to be demolished as part of a plan to redevelop the area around it to add apartments, restaurants, and a marina. The developer, Robert Mangelsdorf's attorney, Michael Durham, says without tearing down that warehouse, the entire $200 million project is in jeopardy.
We will never be able to get off the ground. All of our financing will leave. The people we have that are going to make this project cool, again, term of art, are going to leave.
Not demolishing the warehouse was a flood risk, argued Durham, saying constructing a costly flood wall would be required if it was kept. Business owners nearby the warehouse argued in opposition of that demolition.
Billiken fans in Buffalo, like Devin Hall, aren't losing any sleep over the bracket.
If we play it to our best ability, we can go as far as we want to take it. So that's what I feel like. I don't think
Michigan's good, but I think if we play good, we can get past anybody.
The Billikens making their 11th tournament appearance overall. SLU finished the regular season 28-5.
And that 11th NCAA tournament appearance, a good one so far for the Billikens. They had no problem in the first round game last night as they faced Georgia out of the SEC. Deion Brown scored the first 6 points of the game, and the 9th-seeded Billikens never trailed in this one. Brown and the Billikens, well, they just kept scoring.
Deion will bring it back. Deion across the timelines, got some space, uses it, jump stop, Euro step, left hand, good! Deion Brown!
Deion's got those got that feet work, as Shaq said. Nice little two-step into the lane.
Bills by 11, 25-14, 8:25 left in the half.
St. Louis used a 12-0 run midway through the first half to extend the advantage.
Trey Green up top. He wants a fadeaway from midcourt. Bang! The Trey! Oh, he was 28 feet out.
Yeah, they relaxed a little bit, when he brings it up.
30-18.
Billikens finished the half on a 5-0 run for a 17-point lead at the break, and the Bills pushed that lead to as many as 40 twice during the second half as they roll over Georgia 102-77 last night. Deion Brown scores 18 points. He led 6 players in double figures. Amari McCautry scored 13. He led the way with 9 rebounds. Robbie Avila and Ashan Sharma each scored 12 points. The Billikens shoot 58% from the field. They go 9 of 11 at the free throw line. The win is number 29 this year for the Bills. That's a new school record. The 102 points and 42 field goals are both program records in an NCAA tournament game. The 102 points are a KeyBank Center NCAA tournament record. The record was set earlier in the day when Michigan scored 101 points in its first round win against Howard, and Michigan is up next for the Billikens. They'll face the Wolverines at 11:10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow, and that game will air on 11:20 a.m. Mizzou opens its NCAA tournament run later tonight here at Enterprise Center. 10-seeded Tigers face the 7th-seeded Miami Hurricanes at approximately 9:10 p.m. Opening day is just 6 days away for the Cardinals. They're winding down spring training. Tom Ackerman checks in with more from Jupiter.
Last night on Countdown to Opening Day, I visited with Cardinals shortstop Mason Wynn. He recently had an exchange with pitcher Dustin May that got everybody, including Wynn, fired up on the field.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it was a ground ball up the middle. I had to slide for it, made a pretty decent play on a fast runner, and I just hear somebody yelling at me mid-play. I didn't know what was happening. I make the play. I look at D-May. I didn't even celebrate with anybody else but D-May. But D-May was fired up, cussing, and showing emotion. And that's something I feel like we haven't really had a lot of in the last few years. And it just goes to show. I mean, 2 seconds later, JJ was like, "Man, like that makes me want to get on the ground. That makes me want to make a play." And I think that goes a long way. I talked to D-May about that, and I was like, "Man, like that's something I feel like we've really been missing is that fire and that emotion." And you just see stuff like that. It can really get a team going.
Matthew Liberatore, the opening day starter, gets the nod today as the Cardinals take on the Mets in Port St. Lucie. Stephen Carey and I will have the call on Cardinals.com. In Jupiter, Tom Ackerman, KMOX Sports.
Our next sports update is 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER. This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I think right now we all need something to look forward to, and a nice little getaway is going to do it for me. So I've been looking at this 5-day Arizona trip that I planned in September, and to me, it sounds absolutely perfect, and I would love for you to join me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stay in Flagstaff because that means cooler temperatures. It's a great home base, and from there, we're going to visit Sedona, the Grand Canyon, and Lake Powell, all in one trip. I'm talking about red rocks, big views, and that deep blue water at Lake Powell that looks like a postcard. I'm told September is one of the best times to go with fewer crowds, more comfortable weather, and everything's going to be planned out for us. We just show up. If this sounds like something you'd like to do, please join me because I have always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Travelwithdebbie.net. That's travelwithdebbie.net or call Cruise and Tour at 800-383-3131. Space is limited, so don't delay. 800-383-3131. Travelwithdebbie.net.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterey, along with Megan Lynch and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing all right out there so far Friday morning, and Friday mornings tend to be lighter, so we're looking good on the Illinois side. I'm not seeing any delays on 64 through O'Fallon, Fairview Heights area. It looks good downtown across the Poplar and Musewell Veterans Bridges. Just a heads up, though, this morning at 7 a.m., or during the 7 a.m. hour at least, they're scheduled to close the two left lanes eastbound at the Illinois end of the bridge, and they'll be closed around the clock through tomorrow night at 8, so you know the drive home this afternoon is not going to be fun. Friday afternoons are always busier than Friday mornings. Out to the west, we have road work going on, westbound 64 through Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Only the right lane's open, so it's slow coming down the hill from the boulevard, headed out toward Prospect. And eastbound Highway 70, you've got delays. In fact, it backs up briefly at 47, and from there it's slow into the Wright City Rest area, and that's due to road work going on at that location. Otherwise, the rest of the construction zones are looking good, like 55 at Festus and North of Bayless, 270 at Ladue. Everything's cruising through there right now. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be sunny, breezy, warm this afternoon, a high near the record of 86 set back in 2017. Partly cloudy tonight, an overnight low of 50. And then tomorrow, another sunny and very warm day with a high near 80. Right now, cloudy skies, 51 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. Much has been said about the culture, politics, and behavior of Gen Z, but the generation after them, Gen Alpha, is expected to be the largest in human history. What should we expect? We get more from Steve Scott from our Odyssey sister station, KCBS.
Gen Alpha encompasses those born between 2010 and 2024, and it's a group that is now driving consumer spending. To tell us more, we're joined by Giacomo Santangelo, senior lecturer in the Department of Economics at Fordham University. I guess my first thought is these are some pretty young folks. How are they driving consumer spending?
Well, I mean, look, I think we have to recognize that at every period in time, the youngest generation drives spending, right? All of those television commercials from the 1980s for children's toys and Toys R Us were not geared at the adults. It was on Saturday morning cartoons and afternoon cartoons was all meant to drive, the consumption of Gen X kids. All of the targeted ads for Amazon and eBay and all that stuff, that was targeted specifically not at the adults, but trying to get the young millennials interested. And so right now we're seeing the same thing. It's the spending of the young. Even President Trump recognized this earlier, in his second term, when he said about Christmas that children's toys are going to be more expensive, right? So he's recognizing that that's what parents, that's what adults are thinking about, even in April, right? So it's always going to be about the kids.
Gen Alpha are digital natives. I mean, they have grown up on lines with an iPhone in their hand when they were born. Yes. Now they're reaching driving age. What kind of spending power does Gen Alpha have in 2026?
Well, I think we also have to remember that the economy is in a transitional stage right now. So with everyone going so deeply into debt so as not to face inflation, the rising cost of living and, all the things that are going on in the world right now, there's been a lot of discussion about what kind of credit younger people have. and what their willingness to go into debt is, because things are only getting more expensive, and that's not going to change anytime soon.
Gen Alpha could be the largest generation in history, estimated to be around, 2 billion people. Yeah. How will that change and drive the economy in the next few years?
Well, I think, just like I mentioned before, that in the 1980s, Gen X kids were driving the economy insofar as there was a store called Toys R Us, and that existed specifically because of Gen X. When the millennials showed up in the next generation and they started buying things on Amazon, it was more towards Target, it was more towards Walmart. Then we didn't see, then Toys R Us and KB Toys and those kind of toy stores, they closed down. Well, those places don't exist, but what does exist is Sephora and Lululemon and Target. And if you want to see Gen Alpha in their natural habitat, you go to a Sephora, a Lululemon, or a Target, you'll see them hanging out the same way Gen X kids hung out at the mall.
That is KCBS's Steve Scott with Giacomo Santangelo from Fordham University.
The percentage of St. Louis Gen Zers that own homes might be higher than you'd expect. A new report from Rent Cafe found 1 in 4 Gen Z St. Louis residents own a home. This makes St. Louis the 8th highest U.S. city for Gen Z home ownership. In the past 5 years, the city saw the number of young adult homeowners jump from more than 2,000 to more than 20,000. The number of Gen Z renters in the city saw an even higher increase. A reason for the spikes may be because of St. Louis's average cost of living, which is currently lower than in other U.S. metros.
St. Louis city leaders say full-scale tornado repairs could take another year. Right now, there's only enough money allocated to make basic repairs at about 250 St. Louis homes, and that would basically be enough to get one bathroom working and the lights, air conditioning, and water back on in those 250 houses.
A charitable foundation to support the county's animal shelter has been launched. The mission of the Friends of the St. Louis County Animal Shelter Foundation is to help bridge the funding gap between public funds and the necessary resources to care for animals. Foundation President Sarah Foster says they want to create excitement and interest in the pets to find them homes. This Saturday and Sunday is a Be a Friend, Save a Life, Help Another adoption event where adoption fees will be waived for 100 pets. People are encouraged to bring along a pet food donation.
It is 6:27. That time check is sponsored for you by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Well, St. Louis Public Library, I have to admit I was very sad to hear the news yesterday that Waller McGuire, the longtime CEO of St. Louis Public Library, has decided to retire. He'll be stepping down officially in October because he's done an amazing job. Everybody I have met at St. Louis Public Library, they just are so passionate about their work and do such amazing work with the community, whether it's at Central Library or all of the neighborhood branches. Of course, that will continue. And the other good news, at least, is that the 2 branches that were directly hit by the tornado, which would be the Cabanne branch and the Julia Davis branch, should be reopening in May, so 1 year after the tornado. But you can always go online, whether you're going to stop in at St. Louis Public Library in person. You can also go to slpl.org and download millions of items from the comfort of your own home. You can download their app so you can, on your phone, reserve books, check library hours. It is as modern as can be in some beautiful historic buildings. St. Louis Public Library is St. Louis's original search engine, slpl.org.
Larry Elder here. You know, one of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start. And see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4 relief, or go to relieffactor.com, all one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800 for relief, relieffactor.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan. McKelvey Homes is celebrating 128 years with our 1898 anniversary sale, and you get big savings. At Cotterville Trails, take $18,980 off, plus 10 to 15 grand cash at closing on all to-be-built homes. Save even more on our 9 move-in ready homes with up to $53,000 off, plus special financing as low as 5.25% fixed for 30 years for qualified buyers. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey Homes?
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
St. Louis, can you feel it? It's back.
Welcome to opening day.
To tradition.
The majestic Budweiser Clydesdales.
The sound of baseball in the air.
A swing and a long one.
Thursday, March 26th is opening day. We show up. We wear red. We stand together. New season, fresh start. Your St. Louis Cardinals are ready. And all season long, every moment lives here. 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals.
At 6:30, we have partly cloudy skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterey. This is Roger Brand in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the traffic's okay. Out west is where we're busiest so far this morning. I mean, we are building volume, obviously, but I'm seeing a backup southbound 61 about midway down from Wentzville Parkway to 64. It goes on to 64 to Prospect, and then it opens up after that. So I'm not sure. We may have an incident there just across the overpass. Is out of my viewpoint right now. Westbound 64, it's the left lane's closed for road work. Only the right lane's open west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard, so it's slow from just west of the boulevard going down the hill most of the way into Prospect. Westbound 70, a little slow through the Wright City Rest area, but eastbound 70 jams at 47 and about midway into the Wright City Rest area, and then it's slow into that same point after that. Other than that, just building a little volume on the south side. That means northbound 55 just a little bit off the pace between Bales and Weber. It still looks good on the Illinois side for drivers headed for the downtown bridges. Next update at 6:40 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be downright hot today, a high near 86, sunny with some high clouds, breezy this afternoon. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 50, and another warm day with sunshine tomorrow, a high near 80. Cloudy skies, 50 downtown at the Arch.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page is set to sign the use tax bill today. The bill is his bid to address a budget crisis that forced $48 million in cuts to this year's spending plan. The 3.5% tax on online purchases could raise up to $75 million a year if voters approve it in August. David Sweeney testified before the county council on behalf of the St. Louis Realtors Association.
This proposal is fundamentally about fairness.
He says the current system puts local retailers at a structural disadvantage.
A use tax simply ensures that the same tax applies regardless of where a purchase is made. That is a level playing field, not a new burden.
The bill signing is this morning at 10:30 in Clayton.
KMOX has been reporting on the unruly, dangerous, and reckless behavior that took over streets in many neighborhoods in St. Louis Saturday night.
On Wednesday, St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy addressed the mayhem. Much of the riotous behavior was on social media. The hundreds of young people, and they were not all juveniles, could be seen on camera plain as day with long guns, a flamethrower, fireworks, and other incendiary devices. KMOX asked Chief Tracy if there is a cyber unit or intelligence unit detectives that monitor what's happening on social media, because so many of these gatherings are posted online before they even happen.
I just talked about the intelligence of open source and looking at these things. There's some things that you can look at, but there's other things that you need a search warrant.
Tracy did not answer if the St. Louis Police Department has a cyber unit that deals specifically with monitoring what kind of posts are being made, and if a situation like Saturday's could be warded off before it happens. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
St. Louis police say they've seized 100 more guns than this time last year. Yesterday, the agency announcing it has submitted 531 guns to its crime lab, a number they say increased by 104 guns from this time last year. The department says the spike didn't just happen by chance. They say it's investments of commitment, resources, and action that led to those results.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your money report next. It's 6:34.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
It is 6:35. Thanks for tuning in to Total Information AM for this Friday, March the 20th. We'll check in 5 minutes with Roger Brand and also with Joe Lundberg. It's going to be a hot weekend before, of course, it gets cold again because that's March in Missouri. In the meantime, let's get you updated on your money report from Bloomberg, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, elder law attorneys.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. The conflict in the Middle East has dragged on for 3 weeks and has brought shipping through the Strait of Hormuz to a near standstill. The fallout from the war is spreading globally, with fuel and household costs rising. Global crude is above $110 a barrel this morning. Stock futures are heading for a third day of losses. Meantime, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos is in talks to raise $100 billion for a fund to acquire manufacturing companies and infuse them with artificial intelligence. According to the Wall Street Journal, he's been meeting with some of the largest asset managers all around the world in order to raise money for the project. No comment so far from Bezos. And Uber plans to invest as much as $1.2 billion in carmaker Rivian to help launch a robotaxi fleet over the next 5 years. Uber or its fleet partners will buy 10,000 autonomous Rivian R2 robotaxis and make them available exclusively on the Uber app starting in 2028. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change. But most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Okay, I have some really good news. While we do have the 0% a lot, we do have it on our regular products because you will be unbelievably shocked, especially if you call me and I'll give you the straight up scoop on how much money you can actually save by if you spent $20,000 versus $10,000 on a system. The difference could be as little as, I don't know, let's just say, not to exaggerate, 5 cents. So be careful out there, and always remember your energy savings is based on your house. It is not based on the equipment. So common sense advice and help and guidance. Again, call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. The easiest, 314-293-2600. Again, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, that is bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
It's Cardinals preseason exhibition play today as they face the Nets. Pregame at noon. First pitch 12:10. And you can hear the game streaming on Cardinals.com.
It's now 6:39. We're going to check traffic and weather in just a moment here on KMOX. The Pentagon asking the White House for $200 billion in funding for the Iran war. The White House would have to ask Congress for the funding. On Thursday, President Trump said the war will end soon. When the president was asked about the apparent disconnect between the war ending and the request for more funding, he indicated some of the funding was intended to replenish equipment depleted from previous U.S. conflicts.
It's now 6:40, time for traffic and weather. And here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the biggest delays are still out west, Debbie, on the runs through St. Charles County. Southbound 61 is backing up north of Wentzville Parkway down to 64. It's opening up as you get across the overpass now. Before it was jammed down to about Prospect, so it's looking a little bit better at the front end. Eastbound Highway 70, that's still bunching up in pockets from Highway 47, most of the way into the Wright City Rest area. Westbound's a little slow briefly at the Wright City Rest area, and then back to eastbound 70. The right lanes from Z to 64 are a bit slow now as well. Other than that, there's just a hint of volume northbound 55 approaching Weber to the River de Pere. Really doesn't look that bad there. Downtown, we're still in good shape. Westbound 64 through that O'Fallon Fairview Heights area, passing 159. Everything looks good. Looks good across the bridges downtown. Don't forget this morning at 7 a.m., though, they're scheduled to close the two left lanes eastbound at the Illinois end of the Poplar, and that'll be through today, through tomorrow at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So it's going to be a rough afternoon going home headed into Illinois across that bridge and probably other bridges as well. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Oh, let's see just how warm it's going to get today. We bring in AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. What's in store for us, Joe?
Well, warmth and a lot of it, Megan. We're looking at temperatures that are going to be akin to what you'd see in late June, early July across the next 3 days. 86 today. If we get there, that would tie the record for the date set back 9 years ago. And we'll do it through sunshine and some high clouds. Tonight should average out partly cloudy with a low closer to 50. Sunshine throughout the day tomorrow, the high near 80. And well up into the 80s Sunday ahead of a cold front. Behind that front, though, it will turn much chillier for early next week. Despite sunshine Monday, our high only 56, upper 50s to near 60 with some sun on Tuesday. About 55 at St. Peter's, 56 in Florissant, partly cloudy, 57 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I've got some first-round NCAA tournament upsets and, of course, that big Billikens win. That's coming up in sports.
It is 6:42. A government watchdog says many nursing homes are falsely labeling dementia patients as schizophrenic so they can be sedated.
Most antipsychotic drugs are not approved for patients with dementia because they increase the risk of falls and strokes. But the Office of Inspector General for the Department of Health and Human Services found many nursing homes will intentionally misdiagnose those patients so they can be given sedatives to quiet them. It reduces the workload on staff and artificially improves the nursing home star ratings on the Medicare website. A lobbying group for the nursing home industry claims the Inspector General's report is based on a small number of facilities. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Record-breaking heat comes to the desert Southwest in Arizona. CBS News correspondent Stephen Kaufman.
Lake Martinez, Arizona has made the record books. Thursday's high temperature in the Yuma Desert community hit 110 degrees. Never before in the U.S. has a temperature been recorded that high in the month of March. All across Arizona, temperatures are running 20 to 30 degrees above normal. Today's forecasted highs, Phoenix 105, Tucson 101, and Prescott 91.
If you think last week's hailstorm was remarkable, you are right. Victor Gensini, professor of meteorology at Northern Illinois University, says one of the hailstones recovered in that region measured more than 6 inches in diameter, which is a new state record.
We'll keep it in a plastic baggie so it doesn't sublimate or get any smaller, but we've already preserved it via 3D scanning. So we use a laser scanner and we kind of go around the hailstone multiple times to get the dimensions, and then we were able to 3D print the stone and kind of preserve it forever.
University experts say the hail was produced by a powerful supercell thunderstorm that swept through northern Illinois and northwest Indiana, generating multiple tornadoes and widespread damage. Reports of unusually large hail quickly surfaced across the region following that storm.
State leaders talking up a new all-time record for film and television production in Illinois brought in one of the stars of a Chicago TV franchise to help make the announcement. WBBM political editor Jeff Buckholtz reports.
Thank you, everybody, so much for having me. This is incredibly strange.
Joe Minoso is known to fans of Wednesday night TV as firefighter Joe Cruz on the hit show Chicago Fire, part of what producer Dick Wolf calls the One Chicago franchise that includes Chicago PD and Chicago Med. He joined state leaders on a soundstage at CineSpace on the West Side to make a point that those productions create more than compelling television.
The One Chicago franchise has contributed nearly $2 billion to the state's economy. $2 billion.
And new numbers from the state say production companies spent a record $703 million in Illinois last year. And new companies are opening sound stages all over the state. As for Minoso, who set up his own production company in the city, working on Chicago Fire has been more than a job.
It gave me a foundation to build something.
But here's a tip. If you see Minoso out and about in the city, remember, he's not a real firefighter.
My advice to you all is trust the real heroes.
Jeff Buckles, News Radio 1059, WBBM.
Well, the Billikens rolled over Georgia 102-77 in the first round of the NCAA tournament yesterday. Deion Brown scored 18 points to lead 6 players in double figures for the Billikens. Amari McCautry, 13. He had 9 rebounds. Robbie Avila and Ashan Sharma scored 12 each. Billikens shoot 58% from the field. They finished 9 of 11 at the free throw line. 29th win of the year for the Billikens. That's a new school record. 102 points, 42 field goals, both NCAA tournament records for the team. And the 102 points, the most in KeyBank Center history for an NCAA tournament game. Michigan scored 101 earlier in the day as they beat Howard 101-80. And Michigan is up next for the Billikens. That's tomorrow, 11:10 a.m. It's the number 1 seed Michigan against the number 9 seed Billikens. Again, 11:10 a.m. Central Time, and it will air on 11:20 a.m. tomorrow morning. What would the tournament be without some upsets on the first day? 12th seeded High Point giving us the first.
Here comes the long ball. That's what Wally called for, but it is intercepted. And High Point, the Panthers, the 12th seed, continue on.
They beat Wisconsin yesterday by a final score of 83-82. That's Brad Nessler on TBS. High Point has Arkansas tomorrow. Then it's VCU out of the A-10, the 11 seed, taking on 6th-seeded North Carolina. They trailed by as many as 19 in this game. They force overtime at 75-75, and they're up late in overtime.
A long toss by Stevenson. The catch, Tashar, and that's it. VCU comes all the way back to defeat North Carolina.
That is Iron Eagle on TNT. VCU will face Illinois tomorrow. The Illini beat Penn handily in its first round game. That was a 105-70 win for Illinois yesterday. First round games continue today. That includes here in St. Louis. Mizzou will kick off its tournament run against Miami at approximately 9:10 p.m. The games start with Kentucky and Santa Clara at 11:15. They include Tennessee State and Iowa State at 1:50, and Queens and Purdue gets things started at 6:35 Central Time. Those games all coming up at Enterprise Center in St. Louis later today. Our next sports update comes up at 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Spring is here and the shopping list is long. Time to make a Lowe's run. Buy 3 bags, get 3 free of Stay Green 1 cubic foot garden soil. Plus, right now, members can earn 4 times the points on an eligible purchase. Start spring off strong with these deals and more. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 3/25 while supplies last. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for details. Subject to change. Point boosters subject to exclusions and more terms apply. One-time only offer.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Experience power, beauty, and bold imagination with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra
in Beethoven's Emperor Concerto, Radiant Vision. Acclaimed pianist Vikingur Olafsson returns to perform Beethoven's heroic Emperor Piano Concerto, alongside Kevin Putz, led by music director Stefan Denev. March 27th and 28th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes has become synonymous with quality, luxury, and customization, offering thoughtfully designed homes in the area's most desirable communities. And for the month of March, we're giving you even more room to live. For a limited time, receive a free finished recreation room in the lower level, perfect for entertaining, movie nights, a home gym, or whatever fits your lifestyle. This special incentive is available in select communities and only during the month of March. Visit lombardohomes.com to explore and be sure to ask your sales manager for details.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's see how things are moving for your morning commute. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Now, it's getting a little busier, Megan, and we have a new trouble spot on westbound Highway 64. It's a crash. Westbound 64 at Ballas. The right lanes are blocked. The two left lanes are open. There's just a short jam. It's not even midway back to Spadey yet, but depends on how long, obviously, they stay out there, or how much bigger the delays are going to be. If you're southbound on 61, starting to back up now, bumper to bumper, midway down from Highway P to Wentzville Parkway. It's slow from there onto 64 at the Boulevard. Eastbound Highway 70, bumper to bumper jam from 47 about midway into the Wright City Rest area due to road work. There's also a bit of a backup up at Bryan Road about midway into Highway K, so be advised there. Northbound 55 is cleared out at River de Perrin. We still look okay downtown on the Illinois side, but we want to talk about the bridges downtown. They're going to start road work next hour. In the next 10 minutes, it could happen. Eastbound 64, the Poplar Street Bridge, the two left lanes are going to be closed through tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route is going to be to take the King Bridge tonight for the afternoon drive home. You can exit eastbound 44 downtown and westbound 44 to get to the King Bridge, because don't forget, there's still daily road work going on eastbound 70 on the Musial Veterans. So it's going to be a busy afternoon in the downtown area heading into Illinois. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather today is going to be hot. We're going to be near the record, which is 86 degrees with sunshine and a breeze. Tomorrow, near 80 with sunshine. And then Sunday, partly sunny, breezy with a high near the record of 88. If you don't like that, then just wait, of course, because Monday, 56, Tuesday, 59. Right now, it's 51 degrees and partly cloudy in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:52. Jeffrey Epstein recommended a now shuttered Missouri boarding school to a mother asking him for advice for her daughter. Wings of Faith Academy, a private Christian boarding school for troubled girls, accused by many former students now of physical and psychological abuse. Same with the Agape Ranch for boys nearby.
The troubled teen industry is a hotbed of abuse, says Kansas City Attorney Ryan Frazier, who specializes in sexual abuse cases. He tells The Independent these facilities operate in Missouri because of a lack of oversight by the state. That recommendation came to light in the released Epstein files.
A new Mizzou study suggests mental health policy is emerging as a key voting issue for Americans. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports.
University of Missouri professor Jake Hasselschwert says he found mental health as a policy issue is very important for U.S. voters.
People do place a decent amount of importance on this issue. It's as important as a lot of issues that get a lot more media attention in terms of voters deciding between hypothetical candidates anyway.
The researchers found that mental health ranks above border security, student loan forgiveness, and the billionaire tax in the study of potential voter policy issues. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A statewide decision could soon reshape how much Missouri homeowners pay in property taxes.
On April 7th, voters in 97 of Missouri's 114 counties will decide whether to approve Senate Bill 3, a measure to cap future property tax increases. The law, signed by Governor Mike Kehoe, only takes effect if voters approve it. Supporters say it offers relief from rising assessments, while opponents warn it could reduce funding for Missouri schools, fire districts, and other local services. Matt Pilger, Missouri Net.
Missouri lawmakers considering banning a weed killer linked to Parkinson's. The proposed bill would ban the application, distribution, sale, and handling of Paraquat starting next January. Paraquat is a highly toxic, so toxic that inhaling or absorbing the weed killer can be lethal. The herbicide is already banned in more than 70 countries.
Although the warmer weather may have you wanting to break out the gardening gloves, plant experts say you may end up doing your garden more harm than good. KMOX Garden Hotline host Michelle Reeser West advises gardeners not to go too crazy when it comes to pruning just yet.
With pruning, I always think about bloom time. So if it's blooming soon, it's an early spring bloomer, we don't want to prune that.
She says while the recent frost might have done some damage to your plants, you could be doing more harm if you fuss about that too.
I would not prune any of this cold damage off. I would wait until new growth flushes out and then go out there and trim up any damaged plant material.
It is now 6:54.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your
Today's KMOX birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Birthdays for this Friday, March 20th include this actress and singer.
Possible. There is nothing I can't do when danger calls. Just know that I am on my way.
That is Christy Carlson Romano. She is 42 years old, of course, known for Even Steven and the theme song from Kim Possible. Other birthdays today: Basketball Hall of Fame coach Pat Riley, 81. Hockey Hall of Famer Bobby Orr is 78. Film director Spike Lee is 69. And actress Holly Hunter is 68.
And remember to have a birthday or anniversary announced during this segment. Just email it to totalam@kmox.com. totalam@kmox.com. Happy 29th birthday to Graham Hossey in Chatham, Illinois. Lynn Losi is celebrating, and happy birthday wishes going out to McKinley Gertis.
This is the best birthday ever.
The legendary Fast Eddie of Fast Eddie's Bon Air and Cardinals Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen.
Hey, it's that time of year again, man. It's starting to warm up. And you know the sun's getting a little brighter. I can hear the crack of the bat.
Yeah, the true pros are doing just a little bit of stretching here and there, getting rid of those winter kinks, getting ready for those days that really count, Eddie. I'm talking about the ones you'll always remember at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Boy, now that you got that right. It is all they can do to get ready for the lineup of the delicious eats, man. It's a half-pound Fat Eddie burger. Man, it's a hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and you know the succulent peel and eat shrimp are sitting over there on deck.
You do know I have to stretch out a little bit before I start hitting that dance floor, listening to that live music 7 days a week on that huge outdoor patio.
Well, it's like any other training, man. You got to warm up to get that party face on. It's really difficult out there to have that much fun on that warm, toasty patio. You know, like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, it's Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Vira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been asked many times how Morgan & Morgan became the largest injury firm in the world. I think I know. When someone comes to us for an on-the-job injury, we have a huge workers' compensation practice. But many times we find a defective product that was responsible for that injury. Luckily for them, we have a product liability section headed by my son, Mike. In addition to the comp case, there is a product case too. Other times, the injured worker is fired or harassed for bringing that claim. We have them covered. Our employment lawyers handle retaliation claims as well as wage theft and discrimination cases, and in some cases need to file for Social Security benefits. No problem. We became big for a reason. 30% of our new cases come as referrals from former clients. Hiring us is easy. Go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer, or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Let's see what's happening on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, good news, Megan. They cleared that crash we had westbound 64 at Ballas. It's over on the right shoulder now, so not blocking anything. And since it's westbound, the short jam we had is already thinned out. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, that's looking a lot better. Just a little bit of a delay briefly, just east of Warrenton, east of 47, and it sorts itself out pretty quickly. Still a backup from Lake St. Louis into Bryan Road. That was, it looked like a car off the roadway. It was at the end of the on-ramp from Bryan Road to eastbound 70, but it looks like they've left the scene there as well, so that should improve. And southbound 61 is doing better, but it's still slow south of Wentzville Parkway down onto 64. It's heavy up to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It looks like the westbound side, that roadwork may be picked up. I'm not seeing that westbound slowdown right now. Next update is 710 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Friday, March the 20th. I'm Debbie Monterey, and St. Louis County is facing a budget deficit that includes a $61 million hole in general revenue. County Executive Sam Page has planned to plug that coming up.
I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Sean Malone. Developers who want to turn the Armory and the nearby warehouse into a data center made their case for a conditional use permit. But did they convince the public? I've got that story coming up.
I'm Joe Pott. The regular season just days away for the Redbirds. We'll get a spring training report coming up in sports.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Sunshine through some high clouds today, breezy and quite warm this afternoon. The high close to the record of 86.
Iran hits a major refinery in Kuwait. We've got the latest from CBS News at the tone. It's 7 o'clock.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour. Your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Iran is keeping its sights set on oil. Iranian drones have slammed into a facility in Kuwait a day after missiles targeted the country's largest refinery. It's raising new concerns over global supplies. We're hearing from Israel's prime minister. Correspondent Charlie D'Agata is in Tel Aviv.
A day after gas fields were set ablaze across the Gulf, Netanyahu conceded Israel would stop attacks on the energy sector.
President Trump asked us to hold off on future attacks, and we're holding out.
That doesn't mean the Iranians will follow suit, with drones attacking a Kuwaiti refinery once again today.
Gas prices in the U.S. up at about $1 a gallon over last month. The head of the UN's nuclear watchdog is weighing in on the war.
In an interview with Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan, the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, says Iran still has nearly 1,000 pounds of uranium enriched at 60%, close to what's needed to make a nuclear bomb.
They have the capabilities, they have the knowledge, they have the industrial ability to do that. This is why we need to go back to a negotiating table.
Grossi says ground troops would have a hard time removing cylinders of that nuclear material. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Lines are still long at U.S. airports with the partial government shutdown still denying TSA officers like Sherrod Green paychecks.
We're not Democrats. We're not independents. We're just people that come to work every day to do our job.
A growing number are sicking out. Republicans say it's up to Democrats to approve funding. Vermont Senator Peter Welch still has an issue with that.
We should fund TSA, and I support that right away. And we should separate out the area where we have a real dispute, and that is on ice.
First day of spring and a brutal heat wave in the West has now shattered records in at least 7 states. CBS meteorologist Rob Marciano.
The heat warnings remain up for Southern California today. They will expire tomorrow, but they'll remain up for Vegas and in through parts of Phoenix. By the way, Flagstaff at 7,000 feet, getting up to 80 plus degrees yesterday. That's remarkable stuff.
March Madness is living up to its name.
High Point, the Panthers, the 12 seed. Continue on.
High Point with its first ever NCAA tournament win, stunning Wisconsin 83-82. 6 seed North Carolina upset by 11 seed VCU. Another 6 seed BYU fell to Texas. Top overall seed Duke hung on to beat Siena 71-65. This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here.
Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring.
Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now.
JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet.
Just a couple things, huh?
Maybe more than a couple.
At 7:04, we have cloudy skies, 48 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, March 20th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterey. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page signing the use tax legislation today, hoping to give voters a chance to help close a budget gap that already cost the county $48 million in cuts this year. Voters rejected a similar measure in 2022. David Sweeney of the St. Louis Realtors Association testified before the council.
Today, local businesses, including many small locally owned retailers, are at a disadvantage compared to out-of-state online sellers. Those local businesses employ our residents, occupy our commercial corridors, and support our communities.
Page will sign that bill this morning at 10:30 in Clayton. It will go before voters in August.
St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy responding to the out-of-control behavior in downtown and other neighborhoods Saturday night.
This was not typical juvenile behavior that got a little out of hand. There were scenes involving a flamethrower, a ring of fire, semi-automatic long guns, and vehicles performing dangerous stunts right where people were standing. The question posed to Chief Tracy is if staffing levels are so low that the St. Louis Police Department does not have the resources to get out in front of this type of criminal behavior.
You see the amount of vehicles we take, how many we spike. They have a good communication system. They can communicate with each other. We know the agent, the places that they stage up. They were even on O'Fallon Park 2 years ago.
But Tracy did not specifically answer the question about this time and if the department has a cyber unit that monitors large youth groups that often plan chaotic events like this before they happen. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A suspect in the killing of Berkeley's fire chief has now been indicted. Ferguson Police Department says 61-year-old Linda Hayden has been formally indicted in connection with the shooting deaths of Fire Chief Henry Williams and his 15-year-old daughter, Helena Elliott. The fatal shooting took place in late February when police say they found the 2 victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Hayden was taken into custody immediately at the scene. She's been indicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder and is being held on a $2 million cash-only bond.
After 37 years of public service to St. Louis Public Library, CEO Waller McGuire has announced he's retiring in October. McGuire has been the head of the city library system since 2004. He joined in 1989. The library's board of directors will conduct a national search for McGuire's successor. Under his leadership, the city system entered a groundbreaking partnership with the county library system, joining forces for a summer reading program, expanding access to digital services and technology like the 3 free digital maker spaces and award-winning early childhood literacy programs.
The St. Charles City Council voted to block the demolition of an historic warehouse, Building 90, located on the American Car Foundry property. Business owners near that warehouse argued in opposition of demolishing it.
Demolishing this building would eliminate a functioning community asset and replace it with something that largely circulates existing local dollars rather than attracting new ones.
The decision prevents the removal of Building 90, a structure situated along the St. Charles riverfront. That warehouse was planned, taking it down, I should say, as part of the redevelopment of the riverfront. They want to turn it into high-end residential apartments, restaurants, and a marina.
From the KMOX business desk, less than a decade ago, the city saved an historic nightclub from demolition. Now the city's Land Reutilization Authority is accepting bids to tear down Club Imperial in Walnut Park West. The authority says the building has significantly deteriorated over the years and is a safety hazard.
Club Imperial became a nationally known venue to see artists like Ike and Tina Turner, Dolly Parton, and Chuck Berry. It was also an integrated club when segregation was still common here. According to the Business Journal, some things will be saved or preserved, like 4,000 bricks, the building's marquee and signs, and decorative stonework on the building's exterior.
We're in the middle of a heat wave. We're going to get a check on the forecast as well as traffic from Roger Brand coming up in 2 minutes. It's 7:08.
There's nothing like hearing your friends and family clearly. A grandchild's laugh, conversation with a friend, or the punchline to a joke. Charlie Brennan here with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler and her team understand that hearing is personal. That's why you'll always work with certified audiologists like Adam Voss, Bailey Campbell, and Dr. Colleen Bosler.
That's right, Charlie. We offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so our recommendations are based on what fits you best. With us, we follow best practice fitting methods to ensure your hearing aids are programmed precisely for your unique hearing needs. But our care doesn't end when you walk out the door. As we know, hearing aids require continued support, adjustments, and maintenance, and we offer these services at no extra cost to you. Because better hearing isn't just about devices, it's about reconnecting to the moments that matter most. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts from the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. In 2026, our agency celebrates a momentous occasion as we celebrate 65 years of service to our clients, a tribute to our founder and my dad, Norm Butts. Our staff is ready to assist you with all your insurance needs. So please call me, Steve Butts, at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com. For auto, home, and commercial insurance needs, that's crawfordbutts.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
7:10 now, and time for a check of traffic and weather. Roger Brand has the first say on the roadways. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing better now, Debbie. We're getting into that lull we normally see a little bit after 7 or right around 7 o'clock before we get to our peak at 7:40. So it doesn't look bad for drivers. We have some slow traffic out west. That's where it's been busiest so far today. Southbound 61 just approaching the 64 overpass, crossing over onto 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's just slow through there. Eastbound 70, though, thinned out coming in from Warrenton to the Wright City Rest area. Looks good. Still a little slow approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard. We had heavier traffic into Bryan Road earlier because of an incident. They cleared it, so it's just a little leftover volume there. North 55 looks good at River to Pear. Westbound 64 through 159 in Fairview Heights is fine. Still okay across the bridges, but don't forget, this is the hour that's scheduled to close the 2 left lanes eastbound on the Poplar Street Bridge at the Illinois end of the bridge. They'll be closed this hour through tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, sunshine filtered through some high clouds today. Nevertheless, it's going to be breezy and quite warm this afternoon with a high near the record of 86 set back in 2017. Partly cloudy tonight, though 50. Sunny and quite warm tomorrow, high 80. For Sunday, partly sunny, breezy, and very warm in the afternoon with a high close to the record of 88 set way back in 1907. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Partly cloudy now, 53 in Florissant, 50 in St. Peters, and 48 degrees downtown at the Arch.
We'll get a check of an update rather from spring training coming up in sports.
It is 7:12. At a conditional use hearing yesterday, developers made their case for turning the Armory and the famous bar warehouse into a data center. Much of the public support behind the project was from unions, including the teachers union, supportive of the revenue the development is projected to bring to St. Louis public schools. Detractors remained opposed to the idea of a data center that could be used to power artificial intelligence.
The substitution of AI for existing human jobs is a road that leads only to ruin.
It would be a stupid waste of electricity and water. Just say no, city government. No, we don't want it.
AI is a bubble. This stuff is not going to last.
Residents were also upset by the lack of clarity around how much water and electricity the data center would use, along with how loud it would be, with the developers saying that would be up to the equipment they use and who they host. No recommendation on the development has been made at this time.
Troy, Illinois officials hitting pause on data centers. The council has approved a 6-month moratorium after pushback from residents to a massive data center proposal near a church and park. Derek Rammert with Troy Residents for Responsible Growth says any community needs a decommissioning plan if a data center goes defunct.
Once the life of this is done, you're looking at 300, 500 acres. How can you repurpose that land and bring it back to whole?
Rammert says he hopes the city council will take the coming months to study what other communities have done and enact measures that will protect the community's businesses and homeowners.
New details about a health insurance study released this week by Washington University. Professor Timothy Bride finds 10% of rural Missourians lack health insurance. He says patients faced with big medical bills may delay treatment for too long.
Instead of using a pathway to a more efficient use of services like primary care, they might go to the emergency room.
Instead of using a pathway to a more efficient use of services like primary care, they might go to the emergency room. He says it also becomes a burden on the healthcare system if the patient cannot pay their bill.
A report blames lawsuits for rising insurance costs in Missouri.
Missouri Department of Commerce and Insurance Director Angela Nelson blames what she calls lawsuit abuse for rising insurance costs. She says litigation tactics push legal awards far beyond reasonable damages and result in higher premiums. The report defines social inflation as the increase in severity of insurance claims beyond economic factors. It estimates that social inflation rose over 5% annually between 2017 and 2022, outpacing economic inflation. An analyst found the cost per resident to be over $1,200 and $384 million in lost state revenue each year. Sue Danielson, Missouri Net.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And by Happy Roof, we always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Last night on Countdown to Opening Day, I had an extensive sit-down with Cardinals shortstop Mason Wynn, who told me that manager Ollie Marmol has grown into his position and deserved an extension. The players have his back, and Ollie most certainly has theirs.
He's gonna shoot you straight, man. He's not really gonna beat around the bush. I mean, if you're doing something wrong, you need to fix it. He's gonna let you know, and that's something that I can respect. I feel like a lot of guys will kind of tell you what you want to hear to your face, and then kind of talk behind your back. And he's really good with communication as far as letting players know kind of what their role is, what they're gonna do this year, where they're at right now, where they need to be. And, I think from what I heard, I wasn't with him his first couple of years. But I mean, the growth that I've heard has been amazing. He's always been good to me, but just hearing Newbar talk about, man, he's come such a long way. When he first got here, kind of, Waino, Pujols, and Yadi were kind of managing the team. And now it's, obviously Ollie's been taking the reins, and, he got that extension for a reason. Guys want to play for him. Guys want to show up every single day.
Just 3 more games until the Cardinals break camp on Sunday. In Jupiter, Tom Ackerman, KMOX Sports.
Well, the Billikens returned to the NCAA tournament last night for the first time since 2014, and they had no problem in the first round, dispatching Georgia last night in Buffalo. Deion Brown scored the first 6 points. The 9th-seeded Billikens never trailed. Brown on the Billikens just kept scoring.
Deion will bring it back. Deion across the timelines, got some space, uses it, jump stop, Euro step, left hand, good! Deion Brown!
Deion's got that feet work, as Shaq said. Nice little two-step into the lane.
Bills by 11, 25-14, 8:25 left in the half.
St. Louis used a 12-0 run midway through the first half to extend the advantage.
Trey Green up top. He wants a fadeaway from midcourt. Bang! The Trey! Oh, he was 28 feet out.
Yeah, they relaxed a little bit, when he brings it up.
30-18.
St. Louis ended the half on a 5-0 run. They led 17 at the break. In the second half, they pushed that lead to as much as 40. Did that twice during the second half. They roll over Georgia 102-77. Brown scored 18 points to lead 6 players in double figures for St. Louis. Amari McCautry scored 13. He led the way with 9 rebounds. Robbie Avila and Ashan Sharma each scored 12. The Billikens shot 58% from the field. They finished 9 of 11 at the free throw line. It's the 29th win of the year. That's a new single-season record for the Billikens. Michigan is up next for St. Louis. It is the Billikens and the Wolverines tomorrow at 11:10 in the morning Central Time. That game will air on 11:20 a.m. Mizzou opens its NCAA tournament run later tonight here at Enterprise Center. The 10th seeded Tigers face the 7th seeded Miami Hurricanes at approximately 9:10 p.m. Our next sports update is 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting. Growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterey, along with Megan Lynch and Roger Brand, who's in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we continue to cruise along out there right now, Debbie. Friday mornings tend to be lighter, so it's not bad. The only place I'm seeing the consistent slowdown is on eastbound 64. As you come off eastbound 70, it runs most of the way heavy to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, just, going up the hill before you get to the overpass there, and then it opens up, and it's fine after that. Eastbound 70 looks great coming out of St. Charles County. Southbound 61 right now is clear. Northbound 55 looks good down in Festus and north of Bayless. Downtown westbound 64 over the O'Fallon Fairview Heights area, still not seeing any delays through that construction zone. And it still looks okay on eastbound 64 approaching the Poplar Street Bridge. This is the hour they were scheduled to close the 2 left lanes eastbound at the Illinois end of the Poplar, but they don't have anything set up on the Missouri side of the bridge as of yet. That roadwork's going to be going on now through tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So it's going to impact the drive home this afternoon. Of course, every afternoon we get backups east of the Musial Veterans Bridge because of that road work, that long-term road work going on through Packers Avenue. So now this afternoon, you also had to add the Poplar Street Bridge into the mix. So it's probably not going to be a great drive into Illinois this evening. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be a hot one. We could hit a high near the record of 86 set back in 2017. Sunny otherwise and breezy. Partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 50. And then sunny, warm again tomorrow, a high near 80. We have partly cloudy skies, 48 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It's now 7:22. An elevated fire danger has been issued for parts of central Illinois and Missouri. The National Weather Service says strong winds will put the region at risk of potentially erratic fire behavior, and the warning lasts through tonight. It encompasses the entire St. Louis region.
If you think last week's hailstorm was remarkable, you're right. Victor Gensini, a professor of meteorology at Northern Illinois University, says one of the hailstones recovered in the region measured more than 6 inches in diameter. That's a new state record.
We'll keep it in a plastic baggie so it doesn't sublimate or get any smaller, but we've already preserved it via 3D scanning. So we use a laser scanner and we kind of go around the hailstone multiple times to get the dimensions, and then we were able to 3D print the stone and kind of preserve it forever.
University experts say the hail was produced by a powerful supercell thunderstorm that swept through northern Illinois and northwest Indiana. It generated multiple tornadoes and widespread damage. Reports of unusually large hail quickly surfaced across the region following those storms.
From Chicago Fire to The Bear, movie and TV production companies have been spending big money in Illinois, and state leaders say it is making a difference. New numbers from the Illinois Film Office shows production companies spent a record $703 million in the state last year. Governor Pritzker touting the state's tax and other incentives to encourage film production during an appearance at CineSpace on Chicago's West Side.
Over 90% of film and television production in this state can be attributed to this exact program. We expanded the credit to include things like game shows and contest-based shows and talk shows to develop an even wider production coverage and ecosystem.
And those incentives have now been extended through 2039.
Legislation that would require English language proficiency for all commercial truck drivers in the United States has passed the U.S. House Transportation Committee. Missouri Congressman Sam Graves, who chairs the committee, supports the bill. He recounted last month's incident in which a semi-truck was traveling in the wrong direction down U.S. Highway 61 in Lincoln County, which is in Graves' district.
Law enforcement found that the driver did not understand road signage and was subsequently placed out of service. The state of Minnesota should have never issued a CDL to this driver in the first place.
The House Transportation Committee passed the bill on a party line vote. Democrats call the measure xenophobic and say it will disqualify legal immigrants and asylum seekers from working as commercial drivers in the U.S.
Mental health concerns appear to be a key voting issue for many Americans, according to a new study out of the University of Missouri.
We have this issue that does seem to be pretty popular, and people recognize that there's a problem with the state of mental health in America and the state of mental health care in America. So why don't you hear about it from politicians?
Researchers led by University of Missouri professor Jake Hasselschwert have found that mental health is a big concern for U.S. voters.
I hope at some point political leaders or parties might recognize this as, there could be some political rewards to championing this issue.
The researchers found that mental health ranks above border security, abortion, and the billionaire tax in this study of potential voter policy issues. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Missouri voters in most counties could soon decide how high their property taxes can go.
Voters in 97 of Missouri's 114 counties will decide April 7th whether to approve Senate Bill 3, which could cap future property tax increases statewide. Supporters say it protects homeowners, while critics warn it could impact funding for Missouri schools and local services. Matt Pilger, Missouri Net.
It is now 7:25. Missouri lawmakers are considering banning a weed killer that's linked to Parkinson's. That proposed bill would ban the application, distribution, sale, and handling of Paraquat starting in January. Paraquat is highly toxic, so toxic that inhaling or absorbing the weed killer can be lethal. It's already been banned in more than 70 countries.
Are you itching to get to work in your garden, but you don't know where to start? KMOX Garden Hotline host Michelle Reeser West advises now is the time to start planting veggies.
If you've got the itch, go find your local nursery and pick up some lettuces or kale or spinach or cauliflower, things like that.
She has good news for eager plant lovers, too.
Right now is a great time for planting trees and shrubs, as long as the soil isn't frozen and it's not too oversaturated with water. Trees and shrubs, great time.
It is now 7:26. The time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
Hot matchup, colder drinks, only at Busch Stadium when the Cardinals host the Tampa Bay Rays on Sunday, March 29th. Fans will take home a stainless steel Cardinals tumbler presented by Coca-Cola and Quick Trip, designed to lock in the cold and show off your Cardinals pride. It's the perfect companion for 9 innings and beyond. A practical addition to any Cardinals collection that'll keep you cool all game long. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Nolan Gorman. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
What a beautiful spring.
Hi, I'm Tim Gamma from Gamma Tree Experts. When it comes to tree care, don't let a rookie with a chainsaw pinch it for you. Always lead off with the pros from Gamma Tree Experts. Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your valuable trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation for 60 years. For pruning, fertilization, or removal, call today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I think right now we all need something to look forward to, and a nice little getaway is going to do it for me. So I've been looking at this 5-day Arizona trip that I planned in September, and to me, it sounds absolutely perfect, and I would love for you to join me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stay in Flagstaff because that means cooler temperatures. It's a great home base, and from there, we're going to visit Sedona, the Grand Canyon, and Lake Powell all in one trip. I'm talking about red rocks, big views, and that deep blue water at Lake Powell that looks like a postcard. I'm told September is one of the best times to go with fewer crowds, more comfortable weather, and everything's going to be planned out for us. We just show up. If this sounds like something you'd like to do, please join me because I have always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Travelwithdebbie.net. That's travelwithdebbie.net or call Cruise and Tour at 800-383-3131. Space is limited, so don't delay. 800-383-3131. Travelwithdebbie.net.
I'm Boomer Esiason. My mom died from cancer. She was only 37 years old. She didn't have life insurance, and that was devastating for my family. That's why having life insurance is so important to me. Ethos makes it fast and easy. Get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. You can get up to $3 million in coverage with no medical exam.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
St. Louis, can you feel it? It's back.
Welcome to opening day.
To tradition.
The majestic Budweiser Clydesdales.
The sound of baseball in the air.
A swing and a live one.
Thursday, March 26th is opening day. We show up. We wear red. We stand together. New season, fresh start. Your St. Louis Cardinals are ready. And all season long, every moment lives here. 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals.
At 7:30, we have clear skies, 48 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, this isn't a bad run for almost anybody right now. Folks, if you're heading out the door, getting going, it's an easy go out. Even to the west, it looks better now. There's just a little slowdown approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard on eastbound 64. It's not even slow back at 70 or on 61 any longer. So that's great to see. North 270 has been great all morning long. Still looks fine from 55 all the way up through 64 around Ladue. Both directions there are still rolling. Just a little bit of volume back again. Northbound 55 between Bayless and Weber doesn't look that bad. I mentioned earlier about roadwork scheduled to be set up at the Poplar Street Bridge. It looks like westbound is a little slow on the bridge, but eastbound is still doing okay. However, if you're coming westbound across the bridge, just be advised, it looks like we have a minor incident at the end of the ramp from the bridge onto westbound 44 or southbound 55. Starting to see a little bit of a backup there at the end of the ramp. So downtown's starting to see a little bit of volume, and one of those delays is due to a problem. 64 over the O'Fallon Fairview Heights area, still looking good. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're going to get a high near 86 degrees today. Very warm for the afternoon. Breezy with sunny skies. Partly cloudy tonight. An overnight low of 50 and another warm day tomorrow with sunshine. Expect a high near 80. Right now, we've got sun coming up, 48 degrees downtown at the Arch.
County Executive Sam Page will sign use tax legislation today that he says is part of a long-term fix for the $61 million hole in general revenue and a $20 million shortfall in the health fund that St. Louis County is facing. David Sweeney of the St. Louis Realtors Association testified before the council.
Strong local retail and commercial corridors are essential to property values, neighborhood vitality, and local tax-based stability. When local businesses are disadvantaged, it affects vacancy rates, investment decisions, and long-term community growth. This measure helps ensure that local brick and mortar businesses can compete and succeed.
Sweeney says the county's tax structure has not kept pace with how commerce has shifted.
This is not about creating something new. It is about modernizing our tax structure to reflect today's economy, where online purchasing is the norm.
The bill signing is at 10:30 this morning in Clayton. This will be on the August ballot for St. Louis County voters to approve.
Another warm weekend and thousands of people expected downtown for the NCAA tournament. That has St. Louis police rethinking their security plan given the chaos that erupted last weekend. Our Maria Kina asked Police Chief Robert Tracy if the department has a cyber unit.
These kids seem to be planning all this on social media. And the other thing is, there was a flamethrower, there were rings of fire, they had long guns, and I don't know what kind of caliber they were. And they're putting it out there on social media. How come that can't be tracked?
Well, that's what we're talking about, investigations right now. I just talked about the intelligence of open source and looking at these things. There's some things that you can look at, but there's other things that you need a search warrant, you need other things, and you have to establish that probable cause.
Chief Tracy did not specifically answer if they have a cyber unit or if the intelligence unit handles those types of investigations. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
And St. Louis police say they've seized 100 more guns this year than they did last year. The agency announcing it submitted 531 guns to its crime lab, a number they say is 104 more than this time last year. And they say it didn't just happen by chance, but it's recent investments of commitment, resources, and actions that led to those extra seizures.
It's 7:34. The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
It is 7:35. It's Total Information AM and time for your money report from Bloomberg. It's sponsored this hour by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Gold is heading for its biggest weekly loss in 6 years. The conflict in the Middle East reducing expectations for interest rate cuts from the Federal Reserve and other central banks. Soaring crude is raising inflation concerns, and that's decreasing the chances that central banks will lower interest rates. Facebook parent Meta will soon cut back on its use of third-party vendors to help with content moderation. The company will rely instead on artificial intelligence systems to detect and remove posts that violate the company's terms of service. Meta says AI is better at spotting scams and identifying celebrity impersonators, among other things. And Amazon is dialing up a new phone. The company is said to be developing a mobile personalization device that can sync with voice assistant Alexa. Amazon launched a smartphone in 2014, but it was scrapped in about a year. According to Reuters, there's no word on the expected price of the phone or the amount of money Amazon has committed to the project. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
For nearly 100 years, Busey Wealth Management has helped families and businesses make smart financial decisions that stand the test of time. From personalized investment plans to tax strategies that work for you, we take a big picture approach, connecting you with the right experts to help protect what you've built and plan for what's next. Busey Wealth Management, here for every chapter of your financial story.
With McKelvey Homes. Since 1898, we've been building homes in St. Louis with the same commitment to quality craftsmanship, prime locations, and personalized service. And now we're celebrating 128 years with our 1898 sale. For a limited time, save $18,980 plus receive $10,000 to $15,000 in cash at closing on all to-be-built homes. Visit McKelveyHomes.com to learn more. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey Homes?
Because we have lawyers in all 50 states, I see lots of lawyers' ads. Most seem to be bragging on results, but are they true or misleading? For example, in some cases, a firm may try a case even though the at-fault party has no lawyer, then brag in the ad about their results. My son Matt got one for nearly $50 million, but we never collected one dime. Some lawyers may say they got a result even though they were sitting second chair at a firm like mine, and even though they had little to do with it. Happens all the time. All that glitters is not gold. At Morgan & Morgan, our results are real. Visit forthepeople.com and go to settlements and verdicts to see for yourself what your case may be worth before you hire a law firm. Do your homework. Fact check. It's easy and too important not to. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. Dr. Jean Wang, a WashU Medicine gastroenterologist at Siteman Cancer Center.
Our young onset colorectal cancer center focuses on the problems that younger patients might have. And we pay attention to things like fertility, support with trying to manage childcare and caring for older parents during that time. It's a great resource for these younger patients.
Visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes has become synonymous with quality, luxury, and customization, offering thoughtfully designed homes in the area's most desirable communities. And for the month of March, we're giving you even more room to live. For a limited time, receive a free finished recreation room in the lower level, perfect for entertaining, movie nights, a home gym, or whatever fits your lifestyle. This special incentive is available in select communities and only during the month of March. Visit lombardohomes.com to explore and be sure to ask your sales manager for details.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
Rush Hour Sports, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here.
Bernie Miklasz joins Rush Hour Sports tonight at 5 on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
We'll check traffic and weather together in just a minute here. At 7:39, the Pentagon asking the White House for $200 billion in funding for the Iran war. The White House would have to ask Congress for the funding. When the president was asked about an apparent disconnect between saying the war will end soon and the request for more funding, he indicated some of the funding was intended to replenish equipment depleted from previous U.S. conflicts.
2 studies find that the burden of cancer is shifting from urban to rural areas, and the gap is widening. The findings reported in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute shows that higher cancer mortality rates for rural areas in the nation are largely driven by limited access to care and higher poverty. Other drivers include lower screening rates and more people smoking. The studies find that large cities had the highest rate of overall cancer mortality in the late 60s and early 70s, but that mortality rate reversed between 2021 and 2023 to the nation's rural areas.
7:40 now. Let's see what's happening on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, normally, Megan, this would be the peak time of rush hour, so normally we'd have delays almost everywhere, but it's a Friday morning. Friday mornings are light, and it's also a spring break week. It's the main spring break week, I think. A lot of kids are off school, obviously, so that helps the whole week be just lighter in general. So we only have a couple of trouble spots that are creating backups, and that would be a new injury crash. They just dispatched emergency crews about 3 minutes ago, southbound 61, just before the 6470 interchange, lane blockage there, and it's a solid jam from Wensville Parkway down to the crash scene. And then I mentioned this crash earlier at the end of the ramp from westbound Poplar onto 44 downtown. The right lane's blocked there just near 7th Street, and that's backing at least the right lane's up back across the bridge into Illinois. Now, westbound 64 starting to see a little slowdown just past 159 briefly as well. But other than that, the rest of these interstates are really light on the go for you on both sides of the river. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is now 7:41, and it's time to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, who's here to tell us that summer has arrived.
Temperatures are off to the races. Forget about spring. We're just going straight to summer, at least for the next 3 days, Debbie. We'll see sunshine today, filtered through high cloud, but it's still going to be a nice, warm, breezy afternoon. The record of for the date is 86. That was set 9 years ago. We're going for it this afternoon. Partly cloudy skies tonight, though 50. Not a record breaker tomorrow, but it should be fully sunny and still warm with a high of 80. We're going after a record Sunday. That's 88 from 1907. We'll do it under partly sunny skies and a gusty breeze ahead of a cold front. Now, behind that front, it's going to feel more like late winter, early spring on Monday. Despite sunshine and a gusty breeze, it's going to be much cooler. The high only 56. Upper 50s with clouds and some sunshine on Tuesday. Currently, it is 48 at St. Peter's, 50 in Florissant, partly cloudy, and 53 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Day one of the NCAA tournament is behind us. The Billikens get a big win. We've got some upsets, and I'll tell you about all that coming up in sports.
First, more news at 7:43. Following the president's meeting with Japan's prime minister, CBS News correspondent Nancy Cordes has more on President Trump's surprise and controversial comment about Pearl Harbor.
Trump was asked by a Japanese journalist why the U.S. didn't give allies a heads up before attacking Iran. He responded by invoking some painful history.
Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor?
There was some startled laughter, even an audible groan in the Oval Office after that remark. Japan's prime minister herself looked a little startled, but didn't say anything in response.
Israel is keeping up its punishing airstrikes on Iran. CBS's Rami Inocencio, who is monitoring developments in the Middle East from the foreign desk in London, reports.
This morning, Israel's military launched another wave of strikes and said that it was targeting the infrastructure of what it calls the terror regime in the capital. But Israel, so far we're seeing, is keeping to its word from yesterday to not strike Iran's energy sites.
CBS News correspondent at Hartsfield Jackson in Atlanta says the NTSB investigating a close call between an Alaska Airlines jetliner and a FedEx plane.
Falcon 294 North Tower, only air pressure go around.
A close call at Newark Liberty International Airport Tuesday as an air traffic controller instructed Alaska Airlines Flight 294 to abandon its landing and come back around for a new approach after a FedEx flight had been cleared to land on an intersecting runway.
FedEx 721 Heavy, left turn on the uniform, for the Yankee in contact on plane.
That's on uniform, I'll pass it on plane. Good, nice job. The NTSB is investigating, and Alaska Airlines says this was not a near collision and at no time was the safety of this flight compromised.
A government watchdog says many nursing homes are falsely labeling dementia patients as schizophrenic so they can be sedated.
Most antipsychotic drugs are not approved for patients with dementia because they increase the risk of falls and strokes. But the Office of Inspector General for the Department of Health and Human Services found many nursing homes will intentionally misdiagnose those patients so they can be given sedatives to quiet them. It reduces the workload on staff and artificially improves the nursing home star ratings on the Medicare website. A lobbying group for the nursing home industry claims the Inspector General's report is based on a small number of facilities. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Well, the Billikens rolled over Georgia last night, 102-77 in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Deion Brown scored 18 points to lead 6 St. Louis players in double figures. Amari McCautry scored 13 points. He led the way with 9 rebounds. The Billikens shot 58% from the field last night and went 9 of 11 at the free throw line. The win was the 29th of the year for the Billikens. That sets a new school record for single-season wins. Number 1 seed Michigan is up next for St. Louis. It'll be the Billikens and the Wolverines tomorrow morning, 11:10 a.m. Central Time, the tip, and that game can be heard on 11:20 a.m. Now, what would the tournament be without some upsets on the first day? High Point delivered us our first, the 12th seed, taking on the 5th-seeded Wisconsin. They led 83-82 with a couple of seconds to play.
Here comes the long ball. That's what Wally called for, but it is intercepted. And High Point, the Panthers, the 12th seed, continue on.
It's Brad Nessler on TBS. High Point will face Arkansas tomorrow. Later on in the day, it was VCU out of the A-10, the 11 seed, taking on 6th-seeded North Carolina. VCU trailed by as many as 19 points. They came back to tie the game, force overtime, and they lead late in OT.
A long toss by Stevenson. The catch, Basar, and that's it. Upset madness! VCU comes all the way back to defeat North Carolina.
Iron Eagle on TNT. VCU will face Illinois tomorrow. The Illini beat Penn handily in its first-round game yesterday, 105-70. First-round games continue today, including here in St. Louis. Mizzou will kick off its tournament run at the Enterprise Center against Miami, approximately 9:10 p.m. Before that, it'll be Kentucky and Santa Clara. They open the day at 11:15 this morning. OVC champ Tennessee State and Iowa State at 1:50, and Queens and Purdue will get started at 6:35. St. Louis City is back home tomorrow, and Jen Cease checks in as City is still looking for its first win of the year.
St. Louis City SC came up short on the road at LAFC, falling 2-0. The Black and Gold scored in the 73rd and the 81st minutes, and City saw a 14th minute free kick goal called back for a foul in the box. Midfielder Chris Durkin says it's the team competitive training that keeps them sharp for moments like these.
It's essential to have really high competition, high competitive trainings. It pushes the guys. It makes us better. We want the games to be the easiest part of our week, in terms of how we feel on the ball. And trainings are really difficult. There's not a lot of space. You have to think a lot. You have to have your brain switched on a lot. You can't just be kind of passive through the day-to-day, which I really appreciate about Johan. He preaches focus every single day.
Durkin also points to the partnership with Daniel Edelman in the central midfield, working to improve positioning and create more chances between the two. City is back home to face New England at Energizer Park Saturday night. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Join us for the Rally with Us MLB Opening Day events on March 25th, 9 to 1 p.m. at the Rally House Brentwood Point location. There'll be a live broadcast, giveaways, and the first 100 customers through the doors receive a Valley House Opening Day scratcher ticket. And don't forget to pick up your opening day gear while you stop in. Rally House is your home for outrageously authentic Cardinals gear, on-field hats, jerseys, and apparel straight from the source. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
7:50. Let's get you to work and see if things are getting any better on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's not terrible. I mean, it's a Friday morning, Megan, so it's pretty light, but we do have some issues out there. If you're on southbound 61, they're working with this injury crash, southbound 61. At 64, right at the overpass there, lane blockage and traffic is jammed, maybe a quarter to a third of a mile north of Wentzville Parkway. Eastbound 70 is kind of slow east of the Blanchette into Earth City. I'm trying to look to see if there's anything there right now. I can't see it. There was a crash reported south 270 at the 70 ramp. Those right lanes are jammed back past St. Charles Rock Road because of that one. If you're on northbound of 55, we've got a crash in Festus just past 67, so short jam approaching the interchange there. Mentioned earlier about the crash downtown. At the ramp from the Poplar onto westbound 44 near 7th Street, right lanes blocked. Those right lanes are pretty heavy back past Route 3 now. Westbound 64 a little heavy past 159 at this point as well. Other than that, though, just a little slow between Bayless and Weber on northbound 55. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, it is going to be hot this weekend, and if you don't like it, just wait until Monday and Tuesday when we're back in the 50s. Today is going to be sunny and breezy with a high near the record of 86, 80 tomorrow with sunshine, and then Sunday, high near the record of 88. And yes, as I mentioned, in the mid to upper 50s for Monday and Tuesday. We're kind of there right now. It's partly cloudy and 51 degrees.
More news now at 7:52. A Granite City man has been found guilty of breaking into a woman's home as well as attacking a police officer. The Madison County State's Attorney says 52-year-old Victor Danson was found guilty yesterday and could face up to 30 years in prison. Danson broke into his ex-girlfriend's home in March of last year. She'd previously changed the locks on her home due to fear of him. When a police officer arrived on the scene, Danson kicked the officer and threatened to kill him. He was previously sentenced to 17 years for a conviction from 2023, where he broke into a different ex-girlfriend's home and stabbed her.
Jeffrey Epstein recommended a now shuttered Missouri boarding school to a mother asking him for advice for her daughter. Wings of Faith Academy, a private Christian boarding school for troubled girls, is accused by many former students of physical and psychological abuse. Same with the Agape Ranch for Boys nearby. The troubled teen industry is a hotbed of abuse, says Kansas City Attorney Ryan Frazier, who specializes in sexual abuse cases. He tells The Independent these facilities operate in Missouri because of a lack of oversight by the state. The recommendation came to light in the released Epstein files.
A study by Washington University in St. Louis finds 10% of rural Missourians lack health insurance. Professor Timothy McBride says no coverage can mean big financial consequences.
Means that more people are paying out of pocket, which also means that the hospitals and the healthcare sector are having to deal with collecting from the recipients of the care, which often, unfortunately, can lead to bad debt.
The study found roughly 7% of Missouri's urban residents lack health care insurance. He says total 450,000 Missourians lack health insurance, and says the higher uninsured percentage in rural areas is tied to jobs and lower income.
A report finds lawsuits are at the heart of rising insurance premiums in Missouri.
The Missouri Department of Commerce and Insurance study says big legal settlements and awards have pushed up insurance premiums for consumers and businesses. The report found during a 5-year period, 2017 to 2022, what analysts define as social inflation rose over 5% annually, outpacing economic inflation. And analysts estimated the cost per Missourian at over $1,200 and the cost to the state at $384 million in lost revenue. Sue Danielson, MissouriNet.
The percentage of Gen Zers in St. Louis that own homes might be higher than you would expect. A new report from Rent Cafe found that 1 in 4 Gen Z St. Louis residents are homeowners. This makes St. Louis the 8th highest U.S. city for Gen Z homeownership. In the past 5 years, the city saw the number of young adults who own homes jump from more than 2,000 to over 20,000. And the number of Gen Z renters in the city saw an even higher increase. A reason for the spikes may be because of St. Louis's cost of living. It's currently lower than that in other U.S. metros.
A charitable foundation to support the county's animal shelter has been launched. The mission of the Friends of the St. Louis County Animal Shelter Foundation is to help bridge the funding gap between public funds and the necessary resources to care for the animals. Foundation President Sarah Foster says they want to create excitement and interest in the pets to find them all loving homes. This Saturday and Sunday is a Be a Friend, Save a Life, Help Another adoption event where adoption fees will be waived for 100 pets. People are encouraged to bring along a pet food donation.
The recent cold snap may have wilted some of your early spring plants. How should you handle the changing weather when it comes to your garden?
There's really not a lot we can do now, but kind of wait and see. Those plants should recover. Plants are pretty resilient. So for the most part, we just need to wait and let them recover. We have some really warm temperatures coming at us again today and in the coming days.
That's KMOX Garden Hotline host Michelle Reeser-West, Director of Horticulture for Pointer Landscape. She says plant lovers need to fight the urge to fuss around their gardens until mid-April, which is when the region usually experiences its last frost.
It is 7:56.
There is no better time of the year for college basketball than right now. Even if you're not the biggest college basketball fan, you're paying attention. The big tournament is here. And right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. You can use them on your bracket picks, your money lines, spreads, totals, game props. You can even use them on a same game parlay, whatever it is you want to do. But you don't want to wait because the bonus bets are only available for a limited time. Go to FanDuel.com/Missouri, FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel, it's time to dance. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hardworking, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents, so when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Bernie Miklas here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Let's get another check of the roads. We check back into the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, how's it look?
Oh, we still have this crash down South Megan, northbound 55 at 67. They were working to clear it, or maybe it's a stall. I can't tell. It's in the work zone. There's just a short jam approaching that 67 interchange on northbound 55 downtown. It looks like they are still working it looks like they may have cleared it off at the exit. We had a crash westbound 44 just before 7th Street. The ramp is still jammed back onto the Poplar, and the Poplar is slow back to the Illinois side. Westbound 64 has thinned out through 159, but the afternoon slowdown we normally see eastbound 64 is there. You've got slow traffic east of 157, midway to 159 on eastbound 64. It also looks better, but there's still a backup in those ramp lanes. We had either an incident, either a crash or a stall on the ramp from South 270 on the Highway 70. Those right lanes are still backed up through St. Charles Rock Road at this time. And it looks like they cleared that injury crash. We had southbound 61 at the 6470 interchange. There's still a backup, though, a little closer to Wentzville Parkway, midway down to 64. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
St. Louis, KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
News on the hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Iran's military has just threatened to hunt down American and Israeli officials, even on vacation. 3 weeks into the war, Tehran also claims it's still building missiles. One of them hit an energy facility in Kuwait today. As for Israel, correspondent Remy Inocencio is at the foreign desk.
This morning, Israel's military launched another wave of strikes and said that it was targeting the infrastructure of what it calls the terror regime in the capital. But Israel, so far we're seeing, is keeping to its word from yesterday to not strike Iran's energy sites.
Strikes in the Persian Gulf continue to drive up fuel prices. Brent crude above $110 a barrel today. The average nationwide gas price in the U.S. is up about $1 over last month to $3.91 a gallon. It's still a mess at U.S. airports as TSA sickouts mount amid the partial government shutdown. CBS's Skylar Henry is at the airport in Atlanta.
Several of the flyers that we have spoken with in recent days say that the best that they can do is plan and hope for the best. Meanwhile, the headaches may keep coming as jet fuel prices are surging because of the war in Iran, leading to higher fares and possibly more canceled flights as airlines look to save money on fuel costs.
Spanish police say all signs point to an accidental death after the body of missing University of Alabama student Jimmy Gracie was found in the water off Barcelona yesterday. CBS's Lee Canary is nearby.
Gracie was 20 years old. He was the eldest of 5 siblings, and his friends at the University of Alabama say he was a mentor and a man of faith. Last night, the Gracie family, in a statement to CBS News, said they are heartbroken and struggling to come to terms with this unimaginable loss.
A government watchdog says a lot of nursing homes are falsely labeling dementia patients as schizophrenic.
Most antipsychotic drugs are not approved for patients with dementia because they increase the risk of falls and strokes. But the Office of Inspector General for the Department of Health and Human Services found many nursing homes will intentionally misdiagnose those patients so they can be given sedatives to quiet them. It reduces the workload on staff and artificially improves the nursing home star ratings on the Medicare website. A lobbying group for the nursing home industry claims the Inspector General's report is based on a small number of facilities. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
BTS released first album in 3 years today, and the reviews are trickling in. Forbes says songs like Swim resonate across generations and cultures with themes of youth, self-love, and breaking societal norms. Band took an almost 4-year break to complete military service. This is CBS News.
Go to the ends of the earth, half a world away. Reach for the stars.
If I take time to think, they might go get Brad.
On CBS, Sunday morning.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, March 20th. I'm Megan Lynch. St. Louis County Executive Sam Page set to sign a use tax bill today. The bill is his bid to address a budget crisis that forced $48 million in cuts to this year's spending plan. The 3.5% tax on online purchases could raise up to $75 million a year if voters approve it in August. David Sweeney testified before the county council on behalf of the St. Louis Realtors Association.
This proposal is fundamentally about fairness.
Sweeney says the current system puts local retailers at a structural disadvantage.
A use tax simply ensures that the same tax applies regardless of where a purchase is made. That is a level playing field, not a new burden.
That bill signing takes effect this morning. KMOX has been reporting on the unruly, dangerous, and reckless behavior downtown and in other neighborhoods Saturday night.
On Wednesday, St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy addressed the mayhem. Much of the riotous behavior was on social media. The hundreds of young people, and they were not all juveniles, could be seen on camera plain as day with long guns, a flamethrower, fireworks, and other incendiary devices. KMOX asked Chief Tracy if there is a cyber unit or intelligence unit detectives that monitor what's happening on social media, because so many of these gatherings are posted online before they even happen.
I just talked about the intelligence of open source and looking at these things. There's some things that you can look at, but there's other things that you need a search warrant.
Tracy did not answer if the St. Louis Police Department has a cyber unit that deals specifically with monitoring what kind of posts are being made, and if a situation like Saturday's could be warded off before it happens. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
Charges issued in the killing of Berkeley's fire chief. Ferguson Police Department says 61-year-old Linda Hayden has been formally indicted in connection with the shooting deaths of Fire Chief Henry Williams and his 15-year-old daughter, Helena Elliott. The fatal shooting took place in late February when police say they found the two victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Hayden was taken into custody at the scene. An elevated fire danger has been issued for parts of central Illinois and Missouri. The National Weather Service says strong winds will put the region at risk of potentially erratic fire behavior. That warning lasts through tonight. It takes in the entire St. Louis region. A conditional use hearing for the Armory Data Center was an opportunity for developers to ease public fears about environmental and utility rate impacts.
However, the developer struggled to provide concrete answers to residents' key questions.
Do you have expected noise levels and like decibels that might be generated from?
So we can't determine it until we decide what equipment we're going to have.
How much water does the proposed facility plan to use?
Again, this would really be more concrete at the engineering and design phase.
Even the electrical usage answer was vague, which irritated many residents. The problem? The data center is running into a field of dreams conundrum, with the developers saying if they build it, tenants will come.
We can't even get tenants to talk to us until we have zoning.
No recommendation on a permit was made at this time. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Backlash from residents has led the Metro East town of Troy to pause talk on a proposed data center.
It gives us a chance to get it right.
Derek Rammert is with Troy Residents for Responsible Growth, a grassroots community group fighting a plan to build a data center near a church and community park. The Troy City Council this week approved a 6-month moratorium.
During that pause, they're going to listen to not only what the residents of the town have said, but also reach out and get some expert advice from other individuals, towns that have gone through this before, and make sure that we have ordinances that truly do protect us.
Rammert says, among other things, he'd like to see clear guidelines for years-long data center construction that can disrupt a community. From the KMOX business desk, less than a decade ago, the city saved an historic nightclub from demolition. Now the city's Land Reutilization Authority accepting bids to tear down Club Imperial in Walnut Park West. The authority says the building has significantly deteriorated over the years and it's a safety hazard. Club Imperial became a nationally known venue to see artists like Ike and Tina Turner, Dolly Parton, and Chuck Berry. It was also an integrated club when segregation was still common. According to the Business Journal, some things will be saved or preserved, such as 4,000 bricks, the building's marquee and signs, and decorative stonework on the building's exterior. Speaking of historic buildings, I'm going to take you inside one in Kirkwood that's close to completing renovation. That's up next on Total Information AM. Plus, we'll get you a check of traffic and weather together. It's 8:08.
St. Louis Composting presents The Sounds of Spring.
Swing it along, and there it is, baby. The Cardinals take the lead as Albert Pujols comes through in the pit.
Obviously, the fans are the best fans in baseball. I got caught up so much into, the fans and the celebration, and everything that's going on with the Hall of Fame.
It wouldn't be opening day without a special tradition unlike any other. Please welcome the majestic hometown Budweiser Clydesdale.
Might leave the park. He did it. A grand slam, and it's 4-0.
And the pitch on the way.
There she goes. Way back. It might be. It could be. It is a home run.
Enjoy your outdoor space this spring with vegetable gardens and fresh landscaping. With St. Louis Composting, order online for delivery or pick up premium soil, compost, and mulch at any of our 9 locations. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
8:10, we had some problems pop up at the end of last hour. Let's see how things are going now. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, we're doing better in that regard, Megan. In fact, I think I mentioned at the top of the hour that they had cleared, it looked like they cleared the incident northbound 55 at 67. They indeed have. There's just a little slowdown at Highway 8. There's no jam approaching that 67 interchange any longer. Downtown westbound 64, still a little bit of a backup about mid-span on the Poplar Street Bridge, getting onto westbound 44 on the Missouri side. Again, that was a crash just before 7th Street, the right lane block. Starting to see a little slowdown eastbound 64 approaching the Poplar Street Bridge. Again, those 2 left lanes at the Illinois end of the bridge scheduled to be closed now through tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So it's definitely going to impact your drive home this evening. Just be prepared. And, of course, if you haven't been using the Musial Veterans Bridge, maybe you don't realize that they've been doing road work there for weeks now between Packers Avenue and 64. So that backs up every evening. So it's going to be a tough ride home into Illinois tonight, I'm sure. Other than that, we just have a little bit of a slowdown right now. Westbound 64 coming down the hill toward 157, but the rest of the roadways have thinned out. Southbound 61 looks good through Wentzville Parkway now. That earlier crash at 64 was clear just before the top of the hour as well. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The heat is on for the first few days of spring. Sunshine today through some high clouds, breezy and quite warm this afternoon with a high close to the record of 86 from 2017. Partly cloudy tonight, though 50. Sunny and warm tomorrow, high 80. Partly sunny, breezy, and very warm for Sunday. The high close to the record of 88 set at 1907. It does turn much cooler early next week. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
We do have sunny skies now, 57 degrees in Florissant, still 49 in St. Peters, and 50 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. This summer, a landmark in our region will reopen following a roughly $5 million renovation. The iconic Kirkwood train station is being brought back to its former glory. I was given the opportunity to tour it. Heavy equipment moves on site as crews work to install the final pieces of brand new copper roofing below rows of new slate tiles. The train station was originally built in 1893 by the Missouri Pacific Railroad. It was last renovated in 1941. Jake Banton, project architect with Mackey Mitchell Architects.
Just walked across a brand new parking lot for the city, and that is a city-owned lot. Part of the project was to redo this lot as part of the building, since a lot of patrons do park here, and it's also used for businesses in downtown Kirkwood. So all of that was redone. We had to relay a bunch of gravel underneath to make sure that it was suitable soils, because it was a little rocky and a lot of potholes before. So I think that's going to be a big improvement for the city. Not only for the station, but for these existing businesses around here as well.
Chris Kruger is Director of Public Services for the city of Kirkwood.
In addition, when we were excavating here, we found railroad tracks that was a spur off of the line. And so we had to take those railroad ties out. And so that was unexpected, but it was a neat historical thing that we found.
Yeah. There's all sorts of fun stuff you find when you start opening up the walls and digging in the ground around a historic building like this. We did have an archaeologist as part of the design team, so that when the contractor Ranieri started digging around the station, we had them observe the excavations to make sure that we weren't finding anything of historical value that needed to be studied a little bit more. So aside from the railroad tracks, there's nothing really too much of interest around the station, aside from, some maybe really old trash that someone threw somewhere around.
When the station reopens this summer, patrons will notice a new building on the west end for storage. That opens up more space inside to triple restroom access. Chris Kruger.
Replaced the entire roof. All the gutters are all new with new copper. It'll be all new copper downspouts as well. The windows have been replaced as far as any old glass that was cracked. All that has been completed. In addition, we've done tuck pointing around the building to ensure that we have a good thermal envelope around the building.
So you were able to save some of the original window casings then and just redo the glass?
All of the window casings are original. Like Chris was saying, only some of the panes themselves were replaced.
How incredible is it to find a building of this era that does still have so much original to it?
I mean, it's amazing. It's the historic landmark of Kirkwood. Obviously, the city, and prior to that, Union Pacific has taken pretty good care of it. In the past 100 years. And part of it's just the construction. I mean, these are solid masonry walls. People don't build buildings like that anymore. These are, a foot plus thick. We have these large roof overhangs, which help protect the structure as well. And so part of the reason when we were redoing the roof for the slate, for the copper, was making sure we are using materials that are as long lasting as the original construction to make sure there's another 100 plus years of life out of this building.
Just curious, how long does it take for the copper to get that patina that we're used to?
Well, you'll notice that some of it has started patinaing a little bit already. So it'll go from that bright, shiny copper to a more duller brown, but it'll probably take another, 10 plus years or so to finally green out as that nice patina copper that a lot of people recognize on older structures across the country.
At the east end of the building, Kirkwood residents will notice something that's been gone for decades, a large extension of the canopy along the tracks.
It was taken down during the 1941 renovation, and so we wanted to restore this extension of the canopy, and it creates just a great space to for this whole plaza area along Kirkwood Road at the corner of Kirkwood and Argonne. It's built into the structure, and so it just looks like it was. It's always been here to match what was back in 1893.
The underside of the canopy will be clad with tongue and groove beadboard. They uncovered the original beadboard on the station's other overhangs. On the ground of the plaza, pavers that mimic the original. I asked Kirkwood Mayor Liz Gibbons what it means to see this come to fruition.
I mean, the whole city is excited about it, really and truly. And everywhere I go, people are asking about the train station and when it's going to be finished. That's the big question. But it's a big pride for our community. And, obviously the funding, over $1 million was donated by citizens.
The rest of the renovation funded through state and federal grants, while the outside of the Kirkwood train station will reflect its late 1800s construction. The inside will look like a different era. Jake Banton explains.
The building had a major renovation in 1941. And originally the plan for that renovation was to redo the inside, but also the exterior of the building. And quite drastically, not only taking off the canopy, but alter the appearance, the roof was going to be replaced, really take away some of those great historic architectural elements. And it was actually to the credit of the citizens of the city at the time. They pushed back on Union Pacific on the railroad and were able to save the exterior architectural elements. And so really the interior was the thing that majorly changed. So the 1893 version of the station, you walk in now, we have this big open waiting room. It used to be you'd walk in, there would be a fireplace in the middle, and then you had a men's waiting area and a women's waiting area. You can't have, the genders mixing back in the day. And as part of the 1941 renovation, all that was combined. So now we have the big open waiting room, a main front desk right when you walk in. And so part of this project is maintaining this historic 1941 interior while bringing the exterior back to that more closer to that 1893 version with the added canopy and roof. So that's sort of the strategy that we took with the Historic Preservation Office. So interior wise, we're just redoing the existing paneling. So that's all getting refinished, new paint, the lighting, mechanical systems are getting upgraded. Perhaps the biggest element that folks will see changed in the interior is that we're getting a new terrazzo floor. The patterning is going to match some of the original tiling that was in the station. So we're really excited to see that going in.
Separate from the station work, Amtrak has plans to upgrade the train platform. That's expected to start in the next couple of months. It should be a welcome change to motorists.
Currently, trains, as the folks around here well know of, will stop in the middle of the street to unload and load passengers. So once the platform project is done, the trains will actually stay on the west side of Kirkwood Road while that happens. So it'll be a big improvement.
Mayor Gibbons points out this stop is the second busiest station along the Amtrak Missouri River Runner line.
I'm so grateful to past leadership that when Amtrak and Union Pacific talked about closing this station, that they had the foresight to purchase the building and maintain it as an Amtrak station. So we're thrilled to be welcoming visitors all the time to Kirkwood.
We probably don't have to point out the train station is so synonymous with Kirkwood, it's central in the city's official logo. Again, the station expected to reopen this summer to passengers. These renovations expected to last another century. Let's see how that car traffic is going this morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, smooth sailing on the car front, Megan. I don't see any delays on these interstates right now. Just a little bit of a slowdown. I've been talking about this road work that's going to be set up. They are getting it set up now because they do have the left lane closed downtown. Eastbound 64 approaching the Poplar Street Bridge, so only the right lane is open. Just a little slowdown right at the bridge itself. There's no backup at all. But again, this roadwork is going to have the two left lanes closed at the Illinois end of the bridge, and it'll be out there through today, through tomorrow at 8 p.m. So again, with the roadwork that's been going on east of the Mutual Veterans Bridge and now on the Poplar, it's going to be a rough Friday afternoon commute home into Illinois. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Roger. Checking that forecast for today. It's going to be very warm. We're expecting a high near 86 degrees. Sunny, though, and breezy. Partly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 50. And another sunny day tomorrow. Very warm with a high near 80. We have sunshine, 50 degrees downtown at the Arch.
If you live in Missouri, have Medicaid, and need a caregiver, this message is important. Care at home is personal. That's why you may not want a stranger in your home to take care of you. You want someone who already knows you and your daily routines. With Freedom Care, you choose a trusted family member, a friend, or a neighbor. They will get paid after every shift to care for you, and it's 100% free to you. More than 70,000 people have already joined the Freedom Care family. Call your local Freedom Care. They'll check your Medicaid eligibility. Don't wait until a stranger shows up at your door. If you have Medicaid and need help at home, this care is available 100% free to you. Call Freedom Care now to see if you qualify. 314-907-0892. 314-907-0892. That's 314-907-0892.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking Active Liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for joining us this morning for Total Information AM here on KMOX. Here's Debbie Monterey.
She's a very important name, not just in St. Louis, but in the scope of women's history in this country, and yet a name that you might not be familiar with. Virginia Minor. Let's talk about it with Amanda Clark, who is with the Missouri Historical Society. Virginia Minor was so important on the suffrage movement. Most people don't think of her. She's not the first name that people think of. And why is that?
So I think, it's kind of interesting. Her name is Minor when she's such a major figure. A lot of people, her story is one of so many. I mean, she is not alone. There are women all across the country in the mid-19th century that are pushing in different ways to push on the issue of vote. And again, this is 50 years before women would get the right to vote. But she is just one of many women all across the country.
Some people may be familiar with the movement here in St. Louis where all the women in their white dresses with their yellow sashes were lining up, to get attention to push that forward. That was a few years
Many years later. Yeah, several
this.
decades later. Yeah.
But talk a little bit about what Virginia Minor did that was so significant.
So what she did, and she, again, is an example of women across the country. She was a well-to-do woman in St. Louis. She held property. Her and her husband, owned a house, owned a farm, and he intentionally kept that property in her name so that they could work together on this issue of voting. What she did was that she, knowing that she was going to fail, she went right into the courthouse downtown St. Louis, registered to vote or tried to register to vote. When she was denied, her husband, who was an attorney, sued the registrar over that. So that was their legal route in.
And what was the result of that lawsuit?
Oh, she lost.
Congratulations to her husband, Francis, though. He seemed like he was ahead of his time.
Right. I think so many stories of women that were fighting for the right to vote, so many stories for men that were standing right alongside their wives and helping as well.
But it was legal for her to own property, just not very common.
Correct.
All right. So what happened to Virginia after her denial, where she was not allowed to register, and then her husband sues and then they lose? Does she do anything? Does Minor do anything major after that?
She continues to fight. She continues to fight. She founds one of the very first suffrage organizations in the country. She is a leader. Even if she is one of many, she is one of the leaders, at least locally.
And I understand she also put together possibly one of the nation's first suffrage conventions. Was that here in St. Louis?
It was a convention in 1869, and she gives a really passionate speech, not just encouraging women to vote, but no longer submit to this inferior condition. And her husband helps her draft a set of resolutions, and they get things moving.
Who would have been some of the other big names in that movement at the time that she might have been consorting with?
Yeah, Susan B. Anthony is one that a lot of women know. And there's a woman named Nanette Gardner out of Michigan who voted successfully. Actually, she was able to use a very similar argument to Virginia Minor, but she did successfully vote.
And so Virginia's time frame was somewhere around the 1860s? So
1860s
Civil War
to
times?
1870s, yep.
And so she never did live to see the fruits of
She
her
did not.
labors.
No.
And isn't it interesting in 2026 that there is a segment in our society that is now trying to take away women's rights to vote?
It is. It feels really, it feels surreal to be doing this history right now, especially, as a woman, as a historian, to realize none of these things are guaranteed. And even if we do this big fight and we pass it, we're never going to stop fighting.
That is Amanda Clark. She is with the Missouri Historical Society, and I know people can get more information online, right?
Right. We have a lot of articles written about her as well, and a lot of information on our website at mohistory.org.
It is now 8:28. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
There's a difference between liking a house and actually getting it. Redfin is built to make up that difference and close the gap between finding and owning the home for you. Redfin agents close twice as many deals as other agents. So when you find a home you love, you're not a step behind when it's time to make an offer. That means less watching great homes disappear and more focus on the ones you'll actually move into and call home. Redfin helps turn saved listings into real addresses. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That fun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
8:31, time for a traffic check with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's not much to worry about out there right now, Megan. Highways have been very light all morning, the last day of spring break week, so it's been light in general, but Fridays are always lighter. The only issue right now is just it's not causing a problem, just a little slowdown eastbound 64 approaching the Poplar Street Bridge. Again, the left lane's closed as you approach the bridge, so only the right lane of 64 is open. And once you get onto the bridge, the two left lanes are closed at the Illinois end of the bridge, and that'll be around the clock through tomorrow night at 8 p.m. So, this afternoon, even though it's been a lighter week traffic-wise, it's going to be a trouble getting into Illinois because we have daily work at the Musel Veterans Bridge on the Illinois side that causes jams over to 64 as well. So be prepared, plan ahead for the afternoon drive home. But right now, things look great. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it's going to be a hot one today. A high of 86 expected with sunshine and breezy conditions. Partly cloudy tonight and a low of 50. Right now, we have 50 degrees and sunshine downtown at the Arch. Much has been said about the culture, politics, and behavior of Gen Z, but the next generation after that, Gen Alpha, expected to be the largest in human history. What should we expect? Here's Steve Scott from our Odyssey sister station, KCBS.
Gen Alpha encompasses those born between 2010 and 2024, and it's a group that is now driving consumer spending. To tell us more, we're joined by Giacomo Santangelo, senior lecturer in the Department of Economics at Fordham University. I guess my first thought is, these are some pretty young folks. How are they driving consumer spending?
Well, I mean, look, I think we have to recognize that at every period in time, the youngest generation drives spending, right? All of those television commercials from the 1980s for children's toys and Toys R Us were not geared at the adults. It was Saturday morning cartoons and afternoon cartoons was all meant to drive, the consumption of Gen X kids. All of the targeted ads for Amazon and eBay and all that stuff, that was targeted specifically not at the adults, but trying to get the young millennials interested. And so right now we're seeing the same thing. It's the spending of the young. Even President Trump recognized this earlier, in his second term, when he said about Christmas that children's toys are going to be more expensive, right? So he's recognizing that that's what adults are thinking about, even in April, right? So it's always going to be about the kids.
Gen Alpha are digital natives. I mean, they have grown up online with an iPhone in their hand when they were born.
Yes.
Now they're reaching driving age. What kind of spending power does Gen Alpha have in 2026?
Well, I think we also have to remember that the economy is in a transitional stage right now. So with everyone going so deeply into debt so as not to face inflation, the rising cost of living and, all the things that are going on in the world right now, there's been a lot of discussion about what kind of credit younger people have and what their willingness to go into debt is, because things are only getting more expensive, and that's not going to change anytime soon.
Gen Alpha could be the largest generation in history, estimated to be around, 2 billion people.
Yeah.
How will that change and drive the economy in the next few years?
Well, I think just like I mentioned before, that in the 1980s, Gen X kids were driving the economy insofar as there was a store called Toys R Us, and that existed specifically because of Gen X. When the millennials showed up in the next generation and they started buying things on Amazon, it was more towards Target, it was more towards Walmart. Then we didn't see, then Toys R Us and KB Toys and those kind of toy stores, they closed down. Well, those places don't exist, but what does exist is Sephora and Lululemon and Target. And if you want to see Gen Alpha in their natural habitat, you go to a Sephora, a Lululemon, or a Target, you'll see them hanging out the same way Gen X kids hung out at the mall.
Are you struggling with hearing loss? Do friends and family complain that your TV is too loud? Are you tired of asking people to repeat themselves? If you want to hear clearly again, but don't want a bulky hearing aid that makes you look old, you need to try Adam X by Audion Hearing. The Adam X is a life-changing breakthrough, precisely designed by top audio engineers, fits comfortably in your ear, is nearly invisible, and lets you adjust your sound so you can hear conversations clearly, at home, at dinner, or on the go. And right now, you can try the Adam X risk-free for 45 days. Call Audion Hearing now at 800-295-HEAR. That's HEAR for a 45-day risk-free home trial with free shipping and money-back guarantee. The Adam X is lightweight, rechargeable, practically invisible, and costs 90% less than prescription hearing aids. Don't miss out. Call 800-295-HEAR for complete details. That's 800-295-4327. Hearing for everyone. Audion Hearing.
Your Money Report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A deal may be on the way in the food industry. Consumer goods giant Unilever is in talks to sell its food business to spice maker McCormick. A sale would mark the end of Unilever competing with big food rivals such as Kraft Heinz, as it tries to focus on faster growth areas like beauty and personal care. Unilever's brands include Hellmann's Mayonnaise and Knorr Soup. Any sale would mark the biggest transaction in the history of McCormick, which is just a fraction of the size of Unilever. It has been a bumpy ride for investors. After another volatile week for the markets, traders are waiting to see how the war plays out over the weekend. Stocks are on course for a fourth week of losses, the longest losing streak in a year. And the owner of the Olive Garden is not worried about gas prices. Darden Restaurant says high gas prices didn't affect last quarter's sales, but the restaurant operator adds that if they stay elevated for a long time, traffic could soften. However, Darden says it is confident it will be able to react however it needs to. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
A lot of people are getting their air conditioners tuned up and ready to go for the summer, and we're getting a lot of calls of people saying they want a second opinion, to have us come out and requesting us to come out there and take a look at their air conditioners. They've been told that they need a new one, and the repair is quite costly, and might be best for them to replace the air conditioner and then repair it. If you're in that situation, please give me a call, because there is truly some opportunities here for you that we could save you lots of money, because I'm sure you're going to be shocked. We have the equipment that still works best for you with your budget. It's pretty much the best. Is what I would put in my home, is what I would recommend. Give me a call. It's Bart Inman. One easy number, the easiest number in Missouri and Illinois. That is 314-293-2600. Or the online thing, and that is bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This is 104.1 FM, KMOX. Here's what's happening. The Senate convenes at noon today to resume consideration of the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, otherwise known as the SAVE Act. If approved, it would mandate proof of citizenship to register to vote and a photo ID at the polling place. 3 teenagers in Tennessee have sued Elon Musk's xAI, claiming the company's image generation tools were used to morph real photos of them into explicitly sexual images. And Pop House Entertainment Group has acquired Tina Turner's name, image, and likeness rights, as well as the majority of her music catalog rights from the music company BMG. The Swedish company would not disclose any details of the deal, but said to expect plans within 6 months. Let's check the roads again with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's not bad out there, Megan. We just have a hint of a slowdown northbound 55 past Highway A. Northbound 270 is kind of slow right now, north of 64, headed up through the work zone at Ladue and downtown. Eastbound 64, just a little slow approaching the Poppin Street Bridge. Again, the left lane of eastbound 64 at the bridge is closed, so only that one right lane is open getting onto the bridge. And once you get onto the bridge, the 2 left lanes are closed across into the Illinois side. And I just got an update from IDOT a couple of minutes ago. Originally, they were saying this was going to be going on through tomorrow night at 8 p.m., Now they're saying the estimated completion time is Sunday at 1 p.m. So you can be dealing with it for more than 2
a country of 90 million people.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you wind up bringing change in Iran without boots on the ground. And when you talk about boots on the ground, this isn't Iraq. This is 90 million people.
That's right.
I just don't see that this is thought out. In the past, we put together world coalitions. And I guess what's frustrating to me is yesterday, yet again, another lecture from Pete Hegseth wanting to fight with all of us rather than rallying us around our country and around our troops. I don't know. I just don't see this as being a healthy exercise, and I don't see how this president ends this war. I think the one takeaway I have is if Donald Trump says up, it means down, because everything he promised during his campaign and everything he says, he does the exact opposite of. I don't know if you see that. Surely most of his supporters don't see it, but it's become patently obvious to me.
Well, this is the first president in my lifetime who has engaged the U.S. military and who didn't receive a massive boost in his job approval ratings. That tells you that this particular conflict is unlike anything we've seen before.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I just do wonder how this all ends and how we get out of this. And obviously the damage is done with our allies. Hey, let's not forget, there's still a war raging on in Ukraine and Russia that our allies are fighting that we walked away from. And so I don't know. The world seems more uncertain and in more turmoil as a result of this Trump presidency than we've seen in decades.
That's Michael Kelly. I'm John Hancock. When I come back, I'm going to be joined by Gary Mullen. His band is performing a Queen concert at the Factory this Sunday. That's next on KMOX.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and I think right now we all need something to look forward to, and a nice little getaway is going to do it for me. So I've been looking at this 5-day Arizona trip that I planned in September, and to me, it sounds absolutely perfect, and I would love for you to join me. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to stay in Flagstaff because that means cooler temperatures. It's a great home base, and from there, we're going to visit Sedona, the Grand Canyon, and Lake Powell all in one trip. I'm talking about red rocks, big views, and that deep blue water at Lake Powell that looks like a postcard. I'm told September is one of the best times to go with fewer crowds, more comfortable weather, and everything's going to be planned out for us. We just show up. If this sounds like something you'd like to do, please join me because I have always wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Travelwithdebbie.net. That's travelwithdebbie.net or call Cruise and Tour at 800-383-3131. Space is limited, so don't delay. 800-383-3131. Travelwithdebbie.net.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. Since 1898, we've been building homes in St. Louis with the same commitment to quality craftsmanship, prime locations, and personalized service. And now we're celebrating 128 years with our 1898 sale. For a limited time, save $18,980 plus receive $10,000 to $15,000 in cash at closing on all to-be-built homes. Visit McKelveyHomes.com to learn more. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey Homes?
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
St. Louis's unofficial holiday is almost here. It's Cardinals opening day, Thursday, March 26th. And KMOX's Cakes and Eggs, presented by Budweiser, is back. This year with a new twist. You don't need a ticket to enjoy KMOX's live broadcast at Cardinals Nation inside Ballpark Village, featuring Cardinals alumni, front office personnel, special guests, and so much more. First come, first served. Doors open at 9 a.m. Celebrate opening day with Dirt Cheap, Budweiser, and Rally House. More info at KMOX.com/events.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. If it's cold outside, the team at Morelli Tuck Pointing is still busy. During colder months, Morelli can inspect any exposed brick inside your house. If your basement has a stone or black wall, Morelli can remove the worn-out mortar from that wall and replace it with new mortar. This tuck pointing work will reinforce your foundation, prevent water from entering your home, and thwart pests. This is a great time to get the inside of your garage inspected. And the same goes for your brick or stone fireplace. I've used Morelli Tuck Pointing to repair the chimneys, walkways, and walls of 2 homes here in St. Louis. The Morelli bids are fair, their crews are super polite, and they clean their job sites. Don't take my word for it. Check out the reviews on Google. Winner of the BBB Torch Award and the Next Door Neighbor Fave Award, 35 years in business, and A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau, 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other.
Yeah.
They're just a huge problem in your life. And then you win a giant jackpot. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers now, because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX. A century strong, the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
That recognizable song is from the 1977 album News of the World by Queen. And joining us right now on the guest line here at KMOX is Gary Mullen. And his group, Gary Mullen and the Works, is going to be appearing live at the Factory this Sunday evening, performing the great hits of Queen. It's a fabulous show with a fabulous sound and light display. Gary, welcome to St. Louis.
Hi, thank you.
So you're over in the UK living, and you formed this band. Tell me about your passion for the music of Queen. Where does it come from?
It's been a lifelong thing. I mean, the first band that I got turned on to as a kid, and watched the concerts and bought the records and, put posters on the wall and did all the fan stuff for a long time. And then this TV thing came along in 2000 and started a full career doing this show, which is a lot of fun because we're trying to create a moment in time you're never going to see again, which is Queen with Freddie. So it's the lights and the costumes and staging and the songs, and the songs played like a rock and roll party, with the energy the Queen would do, because it's all about the audience and getting the audience involved in the show.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing about Queen, when they were live on stage, it was as much of a visual experience as it was musical, but the music is incredible. And you've got a talented group of fellows comprising your band, The Works. Tell me about them.
Yeah. I mean, the guys, we wanted musicians that could play like a rock band, but could play this stuff well, because a lot of it is quite complex. We've got Davey Brockett on guitar, John Halliwell on drums, Malcolm Gentles on piano and keyboards, and Victor Broden on this tour on bass. And they're all fantastic players, You've got to be good players to play this stuff, because, like I say, some of the stuff is a little bit complex.
Well, you're going to love the Factory when you guys get here on Sunday, and it is Sunday evening, the 22nd of March. It will be Gary Mullen and the Works at the Factory. It's a really intimate, tremendous venue that you could back your truck right up to the stage behind. It's just, you guys are going to really love it. Have you played the Factory?
We have played it. We played it 2 nights. I think was it last 2 years ago, and then a night last year. It's a cool venue. I mean, I love it. I think it's a really, really cool rock venue. It's somebody's built that venue who likes music. So I can say the backstage, the stage, everything is it's been designed for concerts, which is fantastic.
And you guys will be here on Sunday night, and the people will hear strictly Queen music, correct?
Yes, that's what we do.
And the show is a couple hours and high energy, tremendously cool. I'm detecting you might be from Scotland. Am I correct?
You are detecting correctly. Yes, I am from Scotland. I mean, when I'm on stage, it's the Freddie thing, so the voice changes and everything. But I am a Scotsman. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I'm one of the few Americans who is a fan of snooker. I don't know if you follow the sport.
I have done. I'm terrible at it, but I have to watch it.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan this morning got the highest break in the history of snooker, a 153.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
There'll be people listening to this going, what?
Exactly.
That is a big deal. That is a very big deal.
Well, I talk about it from time to time, so that's great. Well, Gary Mullen, you guys doing the Queen, how many years now for you executing this?
For me, the TV show is 26 years, and it's 24. Next year's the band's 25th anniversary. So it's been a minute, and we're really proud of this tour. This tour is the Magic Tour, which is the final tour with Freddie that they never came to the US with. So it's nice to play that tour for the American audiences.
So you're replicating what they did in their final tour.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow. Well, folks, this is going to be a great show, and I would recommend it highly if you love the music of Queen, and who doesn't. It's going to be great. Gary Mullen, thanks so much for joining us, and welcome to St. Louis in a couple of days.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
All right. Take care. That's Gary Mullen. I'm John Hancock. It's the voice of St. Louis KMOX. Chris and Amy coming up just around the corner, although they are Chrisless today, as I am Kellyless today. But Chris and Amy, Amy will be here. I'm going to join her for the first hour. Brad Young is going to join her for the 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock hours. Do we have Cardinal baseball today or no, James? No Cardinal baseball today. Opening day. We're less than a week out for the St. Louis Cardinals opening day, and you can hear that right here on KMOX. That's next Thursday. Game time's at 3 o'clock, I believe. And it's Amy next on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Ethos.
There are benefits from drinking bone broth. It's a nutritious, hydrating, and potentially gut-healing food. But it's not a miracle cure. Most studies are on rodents.